Jonathan Taylor, there he goes again. 50, 40, down the far sideline. He might do it again. 10, 5, touchdown. I-N-D-Y.
The Eastern Conference Championship has been captured by the Indiana Pacers.
Felix Rosenquist, he wins the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Well, it is a glasses will fog up on the walk to the car. My hand is raised. Mark Dykton.
Yep, right there.
Foggy glasses. Nick Rotacap. Foggy glasses. Are we losers?
No, it's something that happens. My kids think it's hilarious every time I get out of the car and it's too humid, and after being in the air conditioning, it fogs up. They think it's hilarious.
Well, you know what I've started to do is when I drain the pasta, all that steam that comes up from the pasta, they love that when it creates the foggy
I had
glasses.
a pasta night last night.
Well, this time last week, I think we were Lou Anarumo it up, right?
I
Italian
know.
this, Italian that.
I'm not kidding when I say like I've been looking up like Vito Provolone's
Dude.
very routinely lately.
I'm not going to lie. I looked it up to try and get lunch next week. I didn't realize it only opens until 4 o'clock.
I did the same thing. I was disappointed.
I was like,
That doesn't fall in our category at all usually.
And then I
It's a
thought to
special trip.
myself, boy, fettuccine Alfredo for 11:30 lunch would be quite the way to start the day. Thank you for starting your day with us. Good Tuesday morning to everybody out there. It is hot. It is humid. I assume there's some rain in the forecast. I'm Kevin Bowen, Mark Dykton alongside, and yes, Nick Rotacap on the ones and twos. And speaking of Italy, speaking of pasta, weren't you just in Europe, man? Or was that a while ago?
It was, it's almost been 2 months now. But, I was in Switzerland for a couple of days and then went to Austria when F1 was over there. And the temperatures were actually pretty comparable. Maybe it was even a little hotter in Austria. It was very warm over there, and air conditioning, as we have established, is not very common in Europe, so that was fun. But it was very cool to see a different continent and to experience some different cultures, and F1 racing is something I've been a fan of for a long time, so that was a very cool experience.
Love that. Want to get your thoughts on that here throughout the course of the next 3 hours. He'll be on the ones and twos. James Boyd up in New England because at 10 o'clock today, it'll be a joint practice between the Colts and the Patriots. So this is kind of the next chapter, Mark, if you will, of training camp. We start to get away from the consistent kind of Colts versus Colts. I mean, they pretty much have practiced 9 times in a 12-day period, 11-day period, something like that. Now the practices are a little bit more spread out. Some are against other teams. They're going to play a preseason game on Thursday. And I would say what you maybe lose in the quantity of practices, you gain in the quality. Truer evaluations, many more in full pads. Again, today you'll see a team that, represented the AFC in the Super Bowl. So we'll hear from James coming up certainly tomorrow. I think he'll join maybe Jake or John a little bit later today. But the Colts are away from Grand Park until Saturday, I should say. Saturday and Sunday back there for some weekend practices. So a little shift in temperature, if you will, for the Colts here now as we get a little deeper into the month of August.
I feel like there's always checkpoints on training camp where it's report day, make sure the veterans are good, then put pads on, and then you get that first joint practice. This is kind of the next benchmark in the training camp ramp up schedule, because now you're, like you said, you're facing a different team. Maybe get a little of that anger out because you're tired of hitting the same guys on your team. So you're like, ooh, I can face someone in a different jersey. That's always fun. And I think it'll also just kind of give you, like you said, the Patriots are the reigning AFC champions. So let's see how the Colts stack up. It doesn't hurt that they are bitter rivals from way back in the day. So a little bit of a renewed rivalry, and hopefully that turf is up to par on Thursday.
Gosh, you've been all over this turf. So the Gillette Stadium, there's an issue there?
Yeah, so Mike Reese, who we will have on tomorrow, a longtime ESPN Patriots reporter, was the first one to talk about it and said that, yeah, the NFL ruled that it was not up to snuff as far as qualifying for an NFL field, and it was because they were doing some, I guess, adjustments from having the World Cup there, and I guess the NFL did an inspection, said, no, not good enough. Do it again.
Well, we certainly know that Mike Vrabel's been up to some snuff off the field here,
Well.
so we'll see where the Patriots are at as, again, Drake May and company welcome the Colts in today. We had Doug Kyde on late in the show yesterday, and he referenced how deep they are at wide receiver, which I find interesting on a couple of levels.
Mm-hmm.
One, I think it'll be a good test for what I think might be the Colts' best position group the Colts secondary, coming up later today. And then 2, oftentimes you see this in joint practices. Sometimes you look at another position group or another player and you say, ooh, I kind of like what that guy, I didn't know that guy looked like that in person or could move like that in person. So it could be beneficial to, potentially making a trade or whatever. Cut down time comes on August 30th and the roster goes from 90 to 53 and the Patriots cut a wideout that you liked and then boom, you make a play for said wideout. So that will be a hot button topic. I don't know how much dabbling James Boyd did in the nightlife last night. I guess he was busy writing a story about the old acronym PRP. Is that right?
Yeah, I was going to say, you mentioned wide receiver possibly as a target. And, I wonder why that could be. Oh, is it because Alec Pierce has apparently gotten a second PRP injection in his ankle ahead of Thursday's preseason game? So that's not very good. So James was on that, as was Nathan Brown, Adam Schefter, all the usual suspects there. So your concern level after reading that yesterday?
Yeah, it's well, first off, nothing says, let's compare the radio host to the professional athlete. I had a PRP done up here on my noggin for my hair.
Oh, really?
So Alec Pierce and I can shake hands. You think I should go up to him and try to icebreaker it in the locker room and be like, oh, man.
Brothers, we're the same.
Yeah, you ankle, me up there in the hair. You want to kind of swap stories here? You think he would be good with that?
You want to take a picture of my head and your ankle?
Yeah.
I think that would really set off social media.
Should we go before and after here, side by side on this? It's obviously I think it's a notable headline. I mean, I think anytime you hear whatever injection on a player, it's like, oh boy, what's going on here? I think it's important to lay out all the details. And again, I think Adam Schefter initially was the first report, and like you went through the slew of other Colts beat writers that then kind of added some context to it. Just to remind everybody, Pierce initially had the PRP injection in January prior to surgery. The thought there was, hey, could we get this ankle discomfort corrected? The PRP injection usually takes, I think it's like around 6 to 8 weeks for you to see some noticeable differences or to really tell if it worked or not. It did not, get to the level they wanted to, so then they opted for surgery in late March. He has surgery, and I believe the reporting Mike Chappell had last night was he then had the second PRP injection in June. So this is not something that happened yesterday. This is not something that happened 2 weeks ago. It's not something that happened, even a month ago. So you got to go back to June for when this did occur. Obviously 2 of them, one pre, one post surgery, probably not super ideal, but I guess I'm kind of here with Pierce, Mark. Let's go with Alec Pierce's own words. What did he say in June when he detailed, I would say, his medical situation in super detail? He initially said to all of us, 4 to 6 months. Okay? 4 to 6 months from late March. Well, what's in between 4 and 6?
5.
Thank you. 5 months is late August. So, we're not,
we're still in the we're still in the timetable.
Now, again, late August is kind of close to September 13th, so I don't want to act like everything is great here, but I guess what I'm saying is we're not that far off from Pierce's original timetable.
Right. It's not like he said, 3 to 5, and all of a sudden, we're at the end of 5 here.
Yeah, this
we're
is
starting
7
to
or something.
Right.
Super alarming. And again, the one timetable I guess we're kind of off right now is today is Chris Ballard's 2-week window. Ballard had said 1 to 2 weeks at the start of camp. So I guess if you want to really dissect timelines and what we have here, we're now done with the Ballard timeline, which I'm sure there are a lot of people listening in their car that could take that in a variety of directions here.
Yeah.
But that's the one that I'm kind of like, okay, based off where they thought he'd be 2 weeks ago, now we have a question. But based off what Pierce himself said 2 months ago, we are still kind of in the general area. Of course, the question becomes, if you don't hit the 5 months, now we're starting to get into the regular season. So, plenty on this.
My thought with the second one, too, is also were you not seeing the progress that you were hoping to see?
Sure.
And now you're like, you know what? I think we got to try to, speed this up a little bit because now we're all of a sudden timelines are falling a little behind what we expected to see at this point. So that raises some flags, too. But you're right. It took place in June. It wasn't like it was yesterday or anything like that. But it does bring up concerns because you're like, we paid you like a number one, excuse me, paid you like a number one wide receiver. And We haven't been seen it at all during training camp. Now there's this report out there. Where are we at here? When are we going to see you on the field? I saw some fans responding to that, saying, I'm out on him for 2026. This seems like this is bad news written all over it and everything like that. So it seems like people are starting to, the concern level is rising quite quickly here.
Fans are in mid-season form.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying there. By the way, did you see, and I hope it wasn't Nick, I hope it wasn't you. I know your car, Mark. Did you see the light blue vehicle and the parking effort by that light blue vehicle out in our lot?
I think I could see it now. Yeah, it's one of those like mini cars or whatever.
I mean, it looks like me trying to stay between the lines in terms of coloring.
That looks like,
What in the world happened there? It's like a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, that looks like, Mark Sanchez got behind the wheel after a night out and parked that thing.
Yeah.
That is, I can see it from here. That is not well done.
I hope the shooting ability of the Fever tonight, a little bit more straight and narrow than that effort there. It's a big week for the Fever. And I mean, like, on the basketball floor, to be abundantly clear on this. You look at the standings right now, huge. Liberty tonight, Wings Friday, Atlanta Dreams Sunday. Just a massive, massive week for the standings, for potential playoff. Not only just, I think, locking things up, but certainly home court is probably the biggest thing. So just a huge 3 games here with teams that are very, very close to them in the standings right now. Remember, we're just a couple weeks away from the W taking that FIBA break. I think we announced it late in Friday's show, if I remember correctly, Mark, or maybe it was Thursday's show. Caitlin Clark, Leah Boston, both with Team USA coming up here at the start of September. So the whole league is going to take a 3-week break, something like that. And then you come back and you play 4 regular season games, and then boom, it's playoff time. So it's going to get a little weird, I think, if you follow the W on a consistent basis, which some might say it is pretty weird consistently on that front. But a huge week. Huge weekend starts tonight, 7:30. This is on Big ESPN. Ryan Rucco, Rebecca Lobo, and it is Brianna Stewart and the Liberty in town. 4.5-point favorite.
Yeah, and the Fevers, you said that final four-game stretch before the playoffs start. At Toronto, home against the Mystics, home against the Lynx, at the Lynx. Ooh, talking about getting ready in a playoff form at that point. That final 4-game stretch could be even more critical.
You got to hope the Lynx are resting at that point. Like, you almost hope that they've kind of run away with the 1 seed, and, like, they are.
I mean, they've already locked down a playoff spot, but yeah, if they can get the overall number 1 seed locked down, then that would be ideal for the Fever, I would say, especially down those final 2 games.
Someone asked Kurt Signetti yesterday about Tommy McClellan, the Purdue AD's comments. I was very, very happy to hear that question asked. We'll play the answer for you upcoming. Reggie Wayne had some comments on the Colts wide receiver position, so we'll hit on that. Kyle Neddenrip, right? 8:30?
8:30 for Kyle Neddenrip. Yeah, get a little high school.
Inching closer.
That's right around the corner.
Scrimmages coming up on Friday, Operation Football. And our Football Fridays begin in earnest coming up a week from Friday. Dominic Miranda going to join us again this year from WTHR. Loved his energy last year on Friday mornings. Dom is a good dude. So looking forward to chatting with Kyle coming up at 8:30. And Zach Hicks at 9. I've enjoyed some of our chats recently with Zach. Again, Locked On Colts, where you can find him and Jake Arthur's work. They do great work. Zach was at Colts camp for the last, I think it was 3 practices. I want to say Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Always like standing next to him and kind of bouncing ideas off of him and, frankly, just listening to what he has to say. So looking forward to both of those.
I also want to try to see if I can convince you to go into a monetary venture with me.
Oh.
We'll see if we can get that convinced.
You've talked me into 1 or 2 before.
I know. This has some stakes to it. There's actually some juice behind this squeeze, so we can discuss that a little bit later on.
Now, I tried to get you to peer pressure you into a Hall of Fame game last week, and I think you ended up sitting that one out.
I did sit that one out, but this one involves some purchases. It may involve some travel.
Oh, jeez.
But the possibility of the payoff could be the greatest thing our show has ever done.
So do I need to tell Maddie about this, or is this just between you and I?
No. I mean, we would have to win. Let's say, I don't know if I want to reveal all this. We would have to win a lottery in order to get the grand prize. But the grand prize is something I think both of us have dreamt about in our days.
Wow, you really have my mind racing
I know.
on this Tuesday morning.
So we'll go to that in a little bit.
Man, how quickly I can move on from you and your backyard escapades and now all of a sudden be all in on this.
Might have a show road trip.
Gosh.
Do a little game planning.
Okay. You're on. I can tell you're already in bachelor party mode, right?
I have to be. Oh my God. I'm already looking at the weather and I'm concerned because we have golf scheduled for Saturday and it seems like there's like storms in the area and all this other stuff. So I'm like, do I have to have a backup plan? I already put like a deposit down for dinner and everything like that. I'm like, oh boy, that's not great.
Well, we can game plan here. Come on now.
Might have to.
Backup plan.
Might have to.
It's not going to rain all day.
I hope not. The
You're
weather
good.
report I'm looking at doesn't look great though.
On that front, it might be raining today. Skies look pretty overcast again. A steamy start to this Tuesday morning. So the Colts are out in New England. The Fever are back inside of their own building tonight for a big one here against the New York Liberty. We will set you up for all of that. Curt Cignetti responds. I also watched Curt Cignetti and Reese Davis. I'll tell you what, Curt Cignetti loves three things in life: film, blue Gatorade, and that 2024-2025 quarter zip windbreaker from the college football playoff. And I don't want to get too personal. I don't think he wears anything underneath.
I was wondering that too. I saw that video. I'm like, is he shirtless under there?
Which I kind of like.
That's a lot of chest I saw.
I kind of rock that a lot, and I get judged by my wife and friends and family a lot. Yeah, I like to just kind of rock the bear skin. Maybe let some of that,
Let it fly.
First is the worst, second is the worst, third is the one with the hairy chest. What is it? Third treasure chest? I don't know.
I can tell you from having covered IU football in person the last 2 years, Cignetti does not wear an undershirt under the 24-25 quarter zip.
That's investigative
breaking
reporting.
news right there.
And also the blue Gatorade. He brings a bottle in with him to the press conferences, but they also have just a full bottle on the podium that they'll set out on the little tray beside where the microphone sits. But that's not the one that he drinks from. It's just one that's kind of, I guess, used as a prop because he's always got one in his hip pocket, it seems.
Hey,
He's holstered one.
well, backup plan, just like you in the bachelor party.
That's right.
You imagine offending that man? So should I, if we ever get him back on, which I'm not holding my breath for that, should we argue blue Powerade versus blue Gatorade?
I think that's a worthy comparison.
Who do you think's going to win that one?
I think you would lose quite handedly.
That's Mark Dighton. I'm Kevin Bowe, Nick Rodecap on the ones and twos. We appreciate that. James Boyd, again, out for the joint practice up there in Foxborough. Colts and Patriots, 10 o'clock this morning. Thanks for starting your Tuesday with us, Fan Morning Show. Well, hey, I just talked about We Grow Hair Indy in the opening segment there. I don't know if I am, but, maybe I'll approach Alec Pierce and we can swap some stories from a little PRP standpoint. And that's the thing about We Grow Hair Indy is they don't offer just one thing. First off, procedurally, they're one of two clinics in the entire U.S. that offer the multi-unit hair grafting, which I would say is what more people have done. And then what I got done, which is the Artist Robotic FUE hair procedure. Some of that stuff might sound confusing. That's fine. Head online, wegrowhairindy.com. You'll see before and after pictures and videos that they offer you. But also PRP, laser treatments, all of those things are available to you Again, up on the northwest side, that would be building number 2 at the Pyramids. We Grow Hair Indy. A free evaluation awaits, a private evaluation awaits, a virtual evaluation. All of that is available to you. The gold standard for hair restoration, it is We Grow Hair Indy. Contact them today. Get some answers to the questions you deserve. We Grow Hair Indy.
Morning Checkdown. Brought to you by Bet365 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Kevin Bowen, Mark Dykton, Nick Rodecap on the ones and twos. Good Tuesday morning to you. Colts out in Foxborough. Joint practice coming up 10 a.m. today. That's where James Boyd will be. He'll be joining the show tomorrow, back for good on Thursday. So very curious to see the first time all year the Colts will take on someone else. And Mark, pretty good test. New England Patriots here this week. It'll be the Atlanta Falcons for the two joint practices here coming up next Wednesday and Thursday. But a nice test for the Colts tonight, or today I should say, and I would expect the starters to get the heavy run today and not Thursday.
Any big notes or things you're looking for as they head to joint practices with the reigning AFC champions?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned New England's wideouts. A.J. Brown again added, and Romeo Doubs. You know, that was kind of a somewhat big free agent signing by them in the offseason. And we had Doug Hyde on yesterday. He mentioned how good Drake May has looked with those wideouts. So those two against Sauce Gardner, Travarius Ward, I think that's some popcorn.
It's a pretty good test.
Type stuff. And then just in general, Daniel Jones against that defense. That is a upper echelon defense in the NFL. I think for the most part, they're fairly healthy. We'll get official word here coming up later this morning, but I would say nice test because I mentioned to you yesterday and to our audience yesterday during the show, it does seem like without Josh Downs the last couple of days, and he might practice today, but the starting offense has struggled a bit. So, how does that look out there? So, again, that is today, and it is a, 7:30 kickoff, I believe, coming up? Yeah, on Thursday for the Colts and Patriots. Speaking of 7:30, tonight inside of Gamebridge Fieldhouse, it's Fever, it's Liberty, Mark 4.5-point favorite, and this is a big one.
Yeah, I would take the Fever in that one. I think they can rebound. Their offense has been doing very well. Hopefully they can shore up that defensive effort going forward as we get near to the playoffs, but I think they should take care of business tonight.
Yeah, so just to reiterate what they have this week, Liberty tonight at the Wing, or no, hosting the Wings, right? Yeah, hosting the Wings coming up here on Friday, and then at the Atlanta Dream on Sunday. If you look at the standings right now, the Fever are in 4th, so the final home court. That is number 7, 8, and 6 in order in the standings. And it's very jumbled.
Oh, yeah.
From 4 to 8. So, again, this is a playoff bracket that's simply 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3, 6, 4, 5. So the top 4, of course, get home court. So
every win and loss will fluctuate you throughout the standings very quickly.
Correct. So these are massive games for the Fever beginning tonight. They have split so far with the Liberty. You can hear our coverage beginning at 7 o'clock, and it's big ESPN if you want to watch that. Major League Baseball, usually it's a quiet Monday. Boy, I love to see Tarek Skubal struggle a little bit in his Dodgers home debut.
I haven't hated it, that's for sure. Yeah, it was pretty quiet locally, too, outside of Phillies topping the Cardinals 6-5. Padres edged the Brewers 3-2, so look out now. Cubs NL Central deficit down to only 5. And then tonight, they get going in earnest. Reds visit the White Sox. Cubs take on the Nationals in the nation's capital. And the Indians start a 6-game road series against the Nashville Sounds.
Is that bad? Once you put a particular uniform on, that means I don't like you?
Not necessarily. No, I think we all are.
Should I grow up?
I think Jerry Seinfeld's a famous act where he says, everybody's rooting for laundry in sports. I like that jersey. I don't like that jersey. I don't like that guy wears that jersey now. I'm not a fan of that laundry.
Some root for laundry to come off.
Hey. Kurt Signetti, one quarter zip away from taking it all off, apparently.
Well, you in the backyard, certainly taking a whole lot off here.
Boy, I'm still getting pictures of that. I'm like, why are we wasting AI services on documenting that?
I think you need to blame it on AI. I think that's your cop. Tommy McClellan, Purdue AD, that's what I think I would have gone there. You just blame it on AI.
I was hacked. The AI
it's
took
not
over.
Real. Who was sitting in that room? Who can vouch for that?
I didn't authorize those cookies. How did that get there?
You just do every press conference with nobody in the room, so no one can hold you accountable.
I like the strategy you're laying out here.
Speaking of Tommy McClellan and Purdue, Drew Brees making an appearance at Purdue practice yesterday with Barry Odom, fresh off the Hall of Fame induction for Mr. Brees. And speaking of football, we'll have Kyle Nenrip join us here in about an hour. It's high school scrimmages coming up on Friday. We're 1 week away from Operation Football. Coaches poll out. Your Brownsburg Bulldogs, Mark.
Ayo.
2-time defending champ, right?
Can they make it a three-peat? We shall see.
They are number 1. They got all 10 first place votes in that one.
I'm getting the juices flowing because every time I get home, we can hear the Brownsburg band playing and playing and playing. I'm like, do they go to class? I feel like they perform 8 hours of the day. Throughout the school day. I'm like, when are you going to class here? When's lunch? When's recess?
Aren't you usually zero period? Aren't you usually doing that before school?
No. It's all day, though. I get home in the middle of the day. They're playing. The kids from school, band's playing. I'm like, are you rotating? How's this work?
You're showing up with your recorder asking if you can get hot cross buns.
I can EDC. I can do that. I did that in the trumpet back in the day. You need a trumpet. I'm here for you.
Brownsburg 1 in 6A. New Pal in 5A. Nudging Cathedral. 4A is jam-packed at the top. East Central, Roncalli, Dwenger, and Chittard all pretty close. 3A also jumbled. Andrean is your top vote getter there. Brownstown Central in 2A, but some local teams: Lutheran, LaPel, Cascade, South Putnam, Riverton Park, and Pioneer in Class A. So again, Kyle Nedder going to join us coming up at 8:30. Zach Hicks, he was at Colts practice over the last 3 sessions. Always enjoy Zach's insights. He's going to join us coming up at 9 o'clock. A headline involving another PRP injection for one Alec Pierce. What to make of that? What does Reggie Wayne think about the need to add another wide receiver? We'll dissect all of it. And yes, someone did ask Kurt Signetti about Tommy McClellan's comments and referencing the championships or lack thereof, I guess, in Bloomington. What did Kurt Signetti have to say? We'll toss that audio your way as well. Good Tuesday morning to you, Nick. I believe a little weather update on what looks to be a very muggy and potentially rainy Tuesday.
Today's forecast from the Fox 59 Weather Authority.
We're going to have mostly cloudy skies today, plus there's another chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some storms may become strong to severe. Be prepared for another muggy day with a high at 89 degrees. I am Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan.
Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Oh, it's a big week for the Indiana Fever. They got the Liberty back inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse tonight. Wings, that's Paige Beckers and company on Friday. At the Atlanta Dream on Sunday. So very important 3-game stretch given the standings to where they're at. We'll continue to talk about that throughout the show as we only really have kind of a month worth of games left here in the W's regular season. The old acronym we saw make the rounds yesterday, Mark, and last night, PRP. Platelet-rich plasma? Is that right?
It sounds right. I was trying to make sure I was pronouncing it right, but I think you got it. I hate trying to be a doctor on the radio, these terminologies. Like, I don't know.
There's nothing I'm less educated on.
No. I'll just say PRP. I'll stick with that.
I might know more about makeup than I do about
I'm right there with you.
medical terms. Alec Pierce, that is your PRP injectee, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah. Second time here in 2026 he has had this done. Adam Schefter reported this initially yesterday, Mark, and I guess I think it's important that we do try to lay out the calendar before we get into what it means and, the urgency at wide receiver and, play some Reggie Wayne audio about potentially adding another wideout and things like that. So let's just go back to what Pierce shared in June. Had some pain discomfort late in the season. Season ends, decides to get a PRP injection in January. Thought there is that could potentially neutralize, help out the discomfort, won't need surgery, et cetera, et cetera. Initially, the thought there is you need about 6 to 8 weeks to truly see if it works. They get, deep into that, they realize it's not working, so boom, surgery. Late March, surgery. 4 to 6 month recovery for said surgery. In June, Pierce, the thought there was, okay, he needs to have, I guess, another PRP injection. So in June is when he had the second one done. So that's, I guess, kind of the timeline of where we're at. And again, 4 to 6 months from late March. I mean, technically, we're not even to the midway. If you just want to label it as 5 months, 5 months would be the end of August. Now, the question I would have about yesterday's news is this, Mark. When you got to June, did 4 to 6 months start looking a little bit closer to 6 months?
Mm-hmm.
And is that why you had the second PRP injection? Now, James Boyd reported and several others that this is not a setback, but I don't think you're just willy-nilly in PRP injections just to do it.
No. And like from what I looked at after I saw that, I was like, well, how common is like a second PRP injection? Like what is the reason for it? Is that just like, oh, space it out like a shingles vaccine, like every few couple months you get 2 of them or whatever? And it's basically, it says to boost incomplete pain relief from the first dose. So it targets stubborn or severe tissue damage and everything like that. So my thought was like, well, then was it not healing as the way they had hoped it would? And they were seeing, oh, wow, we thought this would be a little further ahead of schedule than where it is right now. So I think we're going to go a second one, try to speed the process back out, get back to you on the original 4 to 6 month timeline. Or was he like, you know what? I'm in more pain than I thought I would be. So I don't really know where we're at here as far as that's concerned. Is he just having more pain than he was previously, or were they not seeing the recovery that they thought they would?
Now, again, 2 weeks ago, Chris Ballard said that it would probably be a week or two for Alec to get back into camp. Today is actually the 2-week timeline. So if you want to look at it, based off what Pierce said in June, everything is still in that general vicinity. 4 to 6 months. We're past 4 months. We're not yet to 5. But what Ballard said 2 weeks ago, that timeline is now passed. So, I still think we're in a window here, Mark, where basically you have about 1 to 2 more weeks before I think it starts to get real nervy with Pierce and week 1. Mm-hmm. If he does play a position where you can rotate a lot at it. And if you give him, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks to fully practice, I'd like to think he could give you something close to himself week 1. That might be a little bit too optimistic. But if you get any closer to the end of August, and you start to shrink that to like, oh, he's had 10 days to practice. Now I think you have some real questions. Because, Pierce throughout his career has been a guy that, like, even though he doesn't get the ball maybe a ton, Mark, he's out there for a ton of snaps.
Oh, yeah.
You look at his
Even
snaps
as
over the
decoy,
year.
yeah.
Right, decoy. Exactly. Just the threat of him out there is exactly what teams, I think, really fear with the Colts. I've always said this, like, he literally increases the ceiling of your offense. I mean that by, like, putting a ceiling on the actual football field. Mm-hmm. He raises how deep down the field you can move the football. So I guess to kind of summarize my thoughts on yesterday's news, I don't know if I'm like DEFCON on it because, again, we're kind of still in the general 4 to 6 month timeline. My question, and again, I hope James and others would throw this, and we'll see how Shane Steichen handles it today, but like, why the need for the shot in June?
Right.
Was it because this is normal or because there was something early in his post-surgical rehab that you felt like instead of the 4-month end of that timetable, it was starting to look closer to the 6 month?
Yeah, because like other stuff I read was like it's typical to have a multi-stage treatment process where it could be 2 to 3 sessions, 2 to 3 shots, spaced out between every 4 to 6 weeks. So was it just that, or was it originally going to just be the one, and then they're like, you know what? I think we need to do a second one. I don't know where we're at, so I'm hoping we can get some answers today for the reporters out there in Boston and get some straight answers here. Because yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh boy. I thought it just happened, but when I saw it was in June, I'm like, okay, a couple months now removed, basically. But why the need for the second one? What does that mean for his timeline? Is that pushing it further out now, or are we still on track for the likelihood of 6 months?
Nick, let's cue this up. This was Reggie Wayne on Sunday after Sunday's practice there. Well, I did think Reggie Wayne was at the Adam Vinatieri Hall of Fame celebration Saturday night, so maybe that's what Reggie was hearing in his ears on Sunday morning. But he made it back for the 9th practice of training camp. Afterwards, he was asked if the Colts should add another wideout.
I'm here to serve. All right. One thing is I get one paycheck, and that's to be the receiver coach. When you get me to doing those kinds of decisions and thoughts, I need 2 paychecks. I'm damn near almost 2 paychecks already because I'm almost like a psychiatrist to some of these guys and counselors. You know what I mean? So whatever. Listen, the more Reggie Waynes I can get, the better. And that's what we're looking for. So whoever's in the room, I'm going to teach them as hard as I can, help them get better, and work on whatever flaws they have.
Is Keenan Allen or Reggie Wayne?
I would think so. I've been on the Keenan Allen to the Colts train for a while now. I also think it would just help, not only because you're thin at wide receiver right now with Alec Pierce and Josh Downs, but also I think a more veteran presence, a guy who's been there and done that and can just kind of be the steady hand of the offense. He can kind of be the safety valve for a Daniel Jones like he was for Caleb Williams when he was in his first year in Chicago. He was the veteran presence where he's old, reliable. He's not going to get you 1,000 yards necessarily, but he will be there where you need to. He's an elite route runner. I could see Daniel Jones and Keenan Allen being a perfect fit together. I'm not sure why the Colts have kind of, maybe it's on Keenan Allen's end. Maybe he's not interested in, like you said, the training camp aspect and preseason and all that stuff. But the sooner you get that guy in the building, the better, because I think he could only help your position group get even stronger. I think Reggie Wayne would appreciate that, and I think the wide receiver room would appreciate that.
Do you think Reggie meant to say that?
How many Reggie Waynes can he get?
Like, do you think he was directly referencing, I guess indirectly referencing Keenan Allen there? Or do you think it's just, whatever, Reggie being Reggie?
I think it's Reggie being Reggie, but I was also like, how many Reggie Waynes do you think you have on the team right now? He's like, the more Reggie Waynes, the better. How many Reggies outside of the actual man named Reggie Wayne are on the Colts roster currently? 0?
Am I reading this right? Tulsa National Little League disqualified from regional tournament for using an ineligible player?
That's what I saw. Are we doing that again? Is that the Danny Almonte thing all over again?
Again, if they would have shaved Almonte's trash stash, I think we're good.
Well, that's interesting.
I think they would have been fine.
Well,
That's
now
the
I
key.
need to know more about that.
We can't have an ounce of facial hair in these players.
No.
Or do you think, he wasn't living within the, hell, Tulsa, it's a pretty big city, right? Tulsa city limits.
Well, I need more information on that too. But
sounds like a Pablo Torre.
He's all over Kawhi Leonard. We need him to
Investigation.
move to Tulsa now.
Speaking of Kawhi, speaking of the association, just announced by the NBA opening, and hear me correctly on this, Mark, opening day, opening night games. Could I talk you into a Tuesday at 3 o'clock?
Tell me more. Where are we going?
Not the Pacers, to be clear. Celtics Pistons. Tuesday, October. What's my date on this? 3 o'clock in the afternoon. First game of the year. Tuesday, October 20th. Boston Celtics, Detroit Pistons. 7 o'clock. LeBron and the Sixers take on the Knicks. 9:30. The rematch of last year's Western Conference Finals. Thunder, Spurs. You good with 3 o'clock on a Tuesday?
No. Why? Why 3 o'clock?
Oh, stop. You're fine with it.
Are they trying to get it like March Madness where kids are watching the games in class instead of paying attention?
Well, my thought is this. When that game ends, most people are done with the day anyways, right, in the Eastern time zone. So final 5 minutes, you watch Celtics Pistons when you get home. That's fine. Mark, don't act like you're going to go out of your way to watch Celtics Pistons on some other night.
Well, no, but I'm just saying a 3 o'clock tip on a Tuesday in October.
You've got 7 and 9:30 set. Why not throw one more at you? The girls.
Why don't you do it
the
where
girls
it's like
get off the bus at what time?
3:40?
Boom. There you go.
Why don't
gather
you
around
the
the TV.
Let's make it like a red zone for the NBA. Let's get wild here. Why don't you do a 7 o'clock Sixers Knicks? Why don't you do like 8 o'clock Celtics Pistons, and then you have Thunder and Spurs, and get like a triple cam action? No, not interested in that. You don't want, if we were trying to make this March Madness, you don't want to do that.
Who's going to be your host?
Oh, I would love to want Barkley trying to do 3 games at once. Sign me up for
Dear
that.
Lord, he can barely talk about one team.
Kenny can do it.
The Christmas Day schedule's been announced, according to Sham Charania of ESPN. Do you think the Pacers are on it?
Judging by the way that sounded, I'm going to say no. That didn't sound very confident at all.
Spurs Knicks.
Oh,
you don't like Spurs Knicks? Isn't
no,
that the
I do, but
rematch of the finals?
I do, but I wanted Pacers Knicks.
Right. I got you. Heat Celtics. 76ers Lakers. Thunder T-Wolves. Nuggets Warriors.
So the Pacers currently shut out of Christmas Day and opening night.
Yeah, it's pretty much all the teams on opening night again on Christmas.
Yeah.
If I'm looking
Run
at
it
this
back
correct here, I guess Pistons would be the one. I mean, it's hard for me to really gripe over any of those games on Christmas.
Especially Lakers and Sixers. I see what they're doing there.
Well, Lakers, Sixers for sure. I mean, Heat, Celtics. I mean, it's Giannis. It's Jaylen Brown going back to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's juicy. Spurs, Knicks, obviously. I don't know. Thunder, T-Wolves. That's kind of turned into a mini rivalry, I think. Jokic, Edwards. Or not Jokic, Edwards. Shea and Edwards. And then Jokic and Steph. And then, I mean, it's hard to really gripe over any of those 5. And honestly, it's good for the Pacers, probably. Just throw more motivation onto it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, make them work for it, I guess.
And you can care about your family on Christmas.
Well, you also have football, too, so I'll probably be distracted by that. But
what day is Christmas this year?
Isn't it a Thursday? Is that right? I don't know.
Friday. Christmas Day is a Friday.
Okay.
So we are doing NFL games on Christmas
I'm pretty sure
Day?
it's Bears-Packers, if I'm not mistaken.
No, geez. Well, there goes the Dyketons.
I know.
Have you alerted Ashley of this?
Oh, she knows. The payment for the Red Zone and NFL Sunday ticket has already been completed, so we are ready to go. Yeah, Christmas Day, you've got Packers at Bears, Bills at Broncos, and Rams at Seahawks.
Oh, man. Sign me up for that slate.
I know.
Boy, screw the NBA.
That's what I'm saying. If you're not going to put the Pacers on Christmas Day, you've eliminated my need to watch. I can watch those other 3 games.
Boy, Christmas Eve, Thursday night, Texans at Eagles.
Yeah.
That's juicy as well. What were you saying to me earlier that you've got some financial endeavor you want me to follow you on?
Okay, follow me.
Sounds
here.
like a pyramid scheme you got here.
Have you been to Ohio before? Specifically, LeBron's hometown of Akron. And can I interest you in potentially going there for a slate of games known as the Akron Zips football team?
Well, when you first started, say, have I been to Ohio? I mean, I've lived on this earth for 36 years. You don't think I've
Akron,
been to
Ohio,
You think I've been
to
to the
be
state
specific.
next door?
To be specific.
No, I'm trying to think. I've spent the night in Cincinnati. I've spent the night in Columbus. I've spent the night in Dayton. I've spent the night in Canton. Hell, 4 nights in Canton, Ohio. So Canton's the closest, right? I've been to Akron. No, I can't say I've ever been to Akron. Shout out to the Zips.
The Akron Zips are doing a promotion, and this ends on August 19th. So we need to be a little steadfast here. Where if you buy season tickets for the Akron Zips football team, starting price, by the way, $75 for season tickets.
Okay.
So not bad.
Okay. I like it.
You get entered in a raffle for every season ticket you buy. The winner gets to call the first series of offensive plays for the Akron Zips game against Robert Morris to kick off the season.
Oh, let's go. I love
You
this.
get to be the offensive coordinator. You will specifically work with the head coach, and you will get to call your series of plays to kick off the Akron Zips football season.
Let's go.
Are you in?
Yes.
I want to do this so badly. I'm so intrigued by this. I'm like, Madden has trained me for this exact moment. We'd pull out every stop in the playbook.
Well, you know me. I want to implement the wishbone. I want wing T.
I'm saying.
By the way, you're going to see this dude Thursday night for the Colts named Anderson Castle. Okay. He's number 42. He literally looks like he was Nebraska's fullback in 1993. Wait till you see this man. The fact that they have not put a cowboy collar on him in practice is such a shame. The Colts oftentimes have their threes go live, so they're third unit guys. So it's like tackling. This dude is a battering ram. To steal a phrase from Chuck Pagano, he's a rolling ball of butcher knives.
Oh.
I cannot wait for Greg Rakestraw and Rick Venturi to describe Anderson Castle's running style on Thursday.
I'm going to need a breakdown from Rake tomorrow when he's in here co-hosting with me.
So Akron's going to have the biggest attendance in the MAC this year.
It says offensive coordinator of the game for the Akron Zips football. One lucky fan will be able to script the opening drive in our home opener. Extra chance to win with every new season ticket holder you refer. Random drawing among season ticket holders. Drawing will be held on August 19th. You will work directly with head coach Joe Moorhead to help design the plays that open the game, a first-of-its-kind experience for the Akron program.
Unbelievable that this is where we're at in college football.
All current Akron season ticket holders are automatically entered into a random drawing. Each additional ticket purchase gets you an additional entry. Oh, I want to do this so badly.
Gosh, can you imagine what Robert Morris must be thinking?
That's my thought, too, is if that's not bulletin board material, that they're just pulling Joe Schmo out of the crowd to script plays.
Oh, man. Gosh. Poor Bobby Morris. They got to be thinking
Kevin's running the wishbone,
What in the
spider
world?
2Y banana out there.
God.
Every Madden
Just
play in the book.
8 plays, 78 yards.
I'm calling a fake punt on first down.
Look
Yeah.
at this.
If I get that, let's just go completely wild.
And they can't veto you, can you?
You're going to go NFL blitz called the bomb.
Like, if you get really outlandish, is Joe Moorhead going to say, no, we're not doing that? Like, excuse me, I'm the
Yeah, I
offensive
want to hear more
coordinator of the
about
game.
this. Yeah. Again, I have clout. I'm the one that won the lottery. I'm the one that paid my $75 for season tickets.
I didn't come up with this contest. You guys did, so I should be able to do whatever the hell I want.
Are Pacers fans legitimately mad their team's out on Christmas Day? Like, is that like a big gripe?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I thought...
I'm always torn on the, like, I want more national attention for my team. I'm always kind of like, okay, yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool, but I don't know. I've never one that's, like, lost sleep over that.
Yeah, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I thought it would have been nice, and especially with the return of Tyrese, I thought that would have been kind of... I mean, hell, he came out I don't know if you saw his whole wedding reception and everything like that. Came out to
Did
I
I
Run
see
New York.
50 Cent?
I Run New York. He played that and was singing it at his reception. I think I saw 50 Cent too. But you're telling me that guy...
I know
doesn't
you've
have
seen
some
the
beef?
Candy Shop music video.
No, multiple times, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the reason
I mean,
why you were banned from work for about 2 weeks.
You're telling me that wouldn't have been a sexy matchup on Christmas Day? I would have been all over that, but I digress. So maybe we'll see the Pacers and Knicks in a primetime game someplace, but I would have thought that either opening night when they're raising the banner in Madison Square Garden or on Christmas Day would have been pretty fitting.
We do know, so usually I think those teams play 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
We do know one of them will be the NBA Cup. games, so it couldn't be Christmas or opening night. The NBA
Right.
Cup games are specifically slotted into the schedule, so that is one of the 3 matchups. We still await word. Usually the NBA schedule comes out here in the next couple of weeks, and honestly, we should be getting an answer. We better be getting an answer on how to view the Pacers this season, which
I was
is
gonna say I haven't heard nothing
that's a whole different.
since the what was it? The zone. I've
Yeah.
heard nothing about that since like the last 2 weeks.
Kenny, when's the last time the Colts played on Thanksgiving? Was it Colts and was it Steelers?
What year was that? Was
Scott-
Roethlisberger still under center
Yeah,
there?
I think it was Scott Tolzien started. I think Luck had a concussion. I want to say 2016. Maybe I'm missing a recent Thanksgiving game, but I think that was the year the Colts played Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's.
And Tolzien was under center. Oh boy.
Yeah, narrator's voice.
Well, that might be a reason why
It didn't
that
go
hasn't
well.
happened.
Much more. 8 o'clock hour. The Colts have released their first depth chart of 2026. What stands out to us about that? Kurt Signetti asked about the Purdue AD, mentioning the university in Bloomington. What did Signetti have to say? Things will hit 8 o'clock hour. Kyle Nunrip, 8:30. Zach Hicks talking Colts at 9. Kevin Bowen, Mark Dykton, Nick Rodicap here. Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. That's indoor and outdoor concretes. You gotta love sidewalks, porches, patios, basements, garages, indoor and outdoor concrete. Head to galaxyconcretecoatings.com. I think there is a great place to start. Stylistically, aesthetically, however you want to look at it, do they have something for your workplace? Do they have something for your residents? And then from there, things I was curious about. Hey, how quick is this process going to be? Well, for us, new sidewalk, new front porch, in and out in about 24 hours. So was thrilled with that. Was curious about the warranty on it. The manufacturers actually upgraded that from 15 years to lifetime. So both those boxes were checked, found something that made sense for our home, which is about 100 years old. And we are very, very happy with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Again, that is indoor and outdoor concrete, garages, basements, patios, porches, and sidewalks. You can contact them today, galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Joint practice day for the Colts. Colts and Patriots from Foxborough. That's where James Boyd is at. So it's myself, Kevin Bowen, and Mark Dykton. Thank you to Nick Rodecap on the 1s and 2s. Again, preseason opener coming up out there in New England Thursday. James will be back, though, before that. He's out there for today because today is when the starters actually participate. Much more on Alec Pierce and the PRP news item that we saw make the rounds yesterday and what that potentially means for him. We'll hit on that. The Colts released their depth chart yesterday, Mark. First time they've done that here in 2026. Anything stand out to you or you were curious about?
I think the one thing that stuck out to me was the backup quarterback listing. And it said Anthony Richardson or Riley Leonard. And as you so eloquently put it, we don't want to hurt feelings in pro sports, so we have to add the or.
I do laugh at the or. I'm like, this is pro sports. Like, if you were playing a game tomorrow, you'd have to make a decision.
Yeah. But it's, first depth chart
There was
preseason.
there was also an or at kicker, too.
Uh-huh.
Blake Groupie, Spencer Schrader. We want to make sure we're appeasing people. I think it's Groupie at kicker, and I think it's Leonard at quarterback.
And my thought with that was, well, who starts Thursday at quarterback?
Well,
because whoever starts at quarterback, is that not the front runner for the backup QB?
It's a fair point. My thought is, and again, Shane Steichen hopefully will clarify this today, we know that those two are going to play, Leonard and Richardson. Mm-hmm. We know Daniel Jones is not. My assumption is Thursday, let's say you play Leonard for a half, Richardson for a quarter and a half, Easton stick for the final 2 series of the game. That's how I would slice it up. A week from Saturday, when it's the Atlanta Falcons, preseason game number 2, you reverse Richardson and Leonard. Richardson gets a half. Leonard gets a quarter and a half. Stick gets the final series or 2. And then at that point, you could make a decision, potentially, and then do what you please in game number 3, or you could continue to have the battle play out into the 3rd preseason game. That's probably what I would do. Because for what it's worth, I know Leonard did have that kind of 2 or 3 day period there in the middle of camp so far where he did take a few more reps, but Richardson has kind of gotten back to that 50-50 split here recently.
Would you be surprised if Richardson gets the nod on Thursday over Leonard? Would that do anything for you?
Not really.
No?
I mean, part of me is like, he's a longer tenured player. Do you get him the first crack? I don't know. I don't want to put too much brain power into that.
Don't want to hurt yourself?
Well, it's a fine question you ask. And yeah, I mean, I do think it's one that, again,
by all accounts, he's had a bad camp.
Right. I think he's been worse than Leonard. But again, like I've commented to you, it's kind of like showing up on the driving range and deciding to hit balls next to James Boyd.
Yeah.
Well, of course your swing is going to look better than James Boyd's.
He's working on it. I bet he's out in Boston right now working on it. He's hearing your slander. He's like, I'm getting that hole in one before you do.
You imagine he's just grinded on the range this morning?
You thought I was covering Patriots and Colts joint practice? No.
Blisters
working on my
his
swing.
hand. Just, I'll take a jumbo bucket of balls. So, yes, I don't think it really matters. But I guess we'll wait for Shane offering up some clarity on that today. But typically how they've operated, Mark, is these joint practices, they matter a whole lot, and then their starters don't play. I've always been more of a play some of your starters in the preseason. Hell, when the Colts lost 30-something straight week 1 games, I'm like, well, you think changing up maybe your preseason plan could alter it a little bit?
Get some reps. Let's see this.
Or maybe we're just, that afraid of it.
But you wouldn't play a single snap for Daniel Jones, correct?
Well,
he's not in the starters need some reps category, or would you be open to it?
Again, it's one of these things like, are you risking injury with him out there?
You can say that for every play of every football game ever.
I mean,
of course you are. There's always a risk.
I mean, he got hurt technically on a non-contact play. Or is there any chance that you could knock some rust off? Or are you saying to yourself, nope, you're starting too many guys. That means you have to start Quentin Nelson. That means you have to start Tanner Bortolini, and you're, risking too many players there. But it's kind of a moot point because they don't expect, at least I don't expect Jones to play.
Yeah. I'm on the fence with that one because I wouldn't mind him getting his first hit in preseason just to get it under his belt, as opposed to like when the games start counting and everything. But like you said, then are you throwing out the first string offensive line? Because if you're not, you're increasing that risk of him getting hit more than once, probably.
Again, all of it's a guess. Like, if all of a sudden he has a rusty first half against Baltimore, are you going to sit there and be like, well, if he would have played 2 quarters against the Atlanta Falcons in week 2 of the preseason, then all of a sudden he wouldn't have been as inefficient as he was in the first half of the opener. Like,
Right.
I think it's hard to say that with a ton of conviction on that. Couple other depth chart notes for me. I would have swapped Seth McGowan and DJ Giddens. I'd have Seth McGowan as a backup running back. Linebacker, good luck.
That's throwing a dart in a dark room, I feel like.
I was telling this to James last week. I like to write my depth chart in Sharpie, pen, or pencil. I think I asked you last week, do we still do whiteout?
We do, yeah.
Maddie Bowen was in charge of school supplies. Did Rosie Bowen have to get whiteout?
Our school supply list, I don't think the kindergartners need it, but I think the 4th graders did.
Can I sniff the dry erase markers, or is that not allowed?
I mean, you can, but we can get high as a kite, and I'm having to man this show for the next 2 hours solo while you're licking the walls.
And I kind of like the rubber cement smell, too. Was rubber cement
That's a good shout. Yeah.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, rubber cement.
Mark's here rolling his eyes. Thank you.
No, there are those, like,
it's a good aroma.
In small doses, yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm
well,
not
some
saying,
would say big doses.
I'm not saying Jake Query's cologne needs to be rubber cement here, but I'm saying it was a nice waft.
I do feel like there is like certain sense where you're like, this is normally probably gross for other people and everything like that, but like I like it. Like smell of gasoline, sure.
Some might say
I can handle that.
When you deposited a few things in the backyard, that was a waft that you were a fan of that others weren't.
I lit a candle afterwards.
So I'm writing linebacker in pencil, not pen, not Sharpie. Again, CJ Allen has missed about a week now.
I don't know if I'm writing anything in linebacker right now with any sort of
that's
utensil.
Probably accurate. Arden Key over Jalen Tuimoloau. That is what I've seen here. Cornerback, again, Cam Taylor-Britt. I know we talked about him yesterday, Mark. He is suspended for the opener. I think he is playing a very, you always talk about it. Your 6th offensive lineman is a pseudo starter.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of view him as the next corner up. If any of those guys got hurt, slot, Justin Wally, or the outside guys. So I view him as a very key guy to note. And again, he's got history with Lou Anarumo.
The other thing I noticed is the bloated tight end room. Oh, good God. I think Rakestraw's on the train of 4 tight ends potentially staying around. Are you on that thinking too?
Yeah, I mean, Mallory Will Mallory catches more balls in training camp than anybody. Will Mallory and Coleman Owen catch 1,000 balls in training camp. I don't want to overthink this. Part of me is like, do they keep 4 tight ends because they don't feel as confident in their wideouts?
Mm-hmm.
And you play a little bit more 2 tight end sets?
Yeah.
Where Mallory, they kind of view as kind of a pseudo wideout, but 4 tight ends is a little luxury. But that'll be a debate that I have to have here in a few weeks.
Have you written that position group outside of Tyler Warren?
I think I cut Mallory back in the spring, and I probably do this every camp with him. I'm like, gosh, there he is every day. Like catching a ton of balls.
Reliable.
But it's like, again, 4 tight ends. What are you, the Akron play caller?
Well, God willing, we will be.
But can you share the YouTube comment here and update our audience on this? Akron is having
the Akron Zips, in order to sell some season tickets for their opener against Robert Morris, you can buy season tickets for the low price of $75 for a full season ticket package. So that's actually not too shabby. But they will hold a raffle for everyone who has season tickets, and you could win offensive coordinator of the game, where you get to script the opening drive of the home opener against Robert Morris. Ticket drawing is on August 19th to see who wins. And we've had some great comments. People are like, well, hold the phone now. Like, if I'm offensive coordinator, I can call whatever I want. And then I believe it was, I don't want to give the false shout out, but someone recommended in the chat, said, well, shouldn't the Akron Zips, or shouldn't the Robert Morris fans buy up Akron season tickets so that they can be the offensive coordinator for Akron and basically like throw like right to Robert Morris or something, or do a punt on first down?
I love this.
I like that idea. Somebody said Statue of Liberty on the first play, hook and ladder. Let's do the drop kick, all that good stuff. Flea flicker, quarterback screen. I love it all.
NFL blitz, the bomb.
There should be, that's right. There should be every play in the history of plays should be available to use.
Someone should ask.
You want to do the wishbone?
Someone should ask Kurt Signetti about this thought here. Now, someone did ask Kurt Cignetti yesterday about Tommy McClellan's comments. Did you catch this at all, Mark?
I did.
So, again, Kurt Cignetti never one to shy away from the mic.
He was not shirtless on this question, was he?
No.
Shirtless
again,
underneath?
Kurt Cignetti, there are 3 things he loves in life. Film, blue Gatorade, and the 2024-2025 college football quarter zip playoff windbreaker with no undershirt. I don't think he loves anything
That's a
more.
power move, by the way, I feel like.
Well, it's especially power when you don't even bring up the zipper.
Yeah, when he's like, yeah, that's my flesh. What are you going to do about it?
Which I do love. He wears the quarter zip from the non-national title year.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not like peak dad?
Yeah, I like this one.
It's so comfy. No,
but Dad, there's a new one. I don't want it.
Right.
No, thanks.
Just peak dad. Kurt Cignetti yesterday, and is the question in here, Nick? I believe the question and the answer is in here.
Yes, the question is in there.
Go ahead and cue this up.
Be remiss if I didn't ask. I was wondering if you saw or heard the comments from Tommy McClellan in his opening presser last week. Kind of take a little shot. Didn't know if you had any comments on that at all.
Not really.
Oh, boo! Mark, that's your WWE character. Has he gotten soft?
No, he didn't have to do the talking now. He has to do the talking in the Oak and Bucket game, and he's like, 70 points. That sounds pretty good.
That man has
It's a nice
talked
round
and
number.
walked just fine in his IU tenure. Is he that really worried about Barry Odom's squad this year?
No, I don't think that's why he's like, tossed over his shoulders. Like, not a big deal.
I was thinking, like, what answer would I have loved to hear from him there? I don't know if these numbers match up, but what's the total points Indiana's put up on Purdue the last 2 years? It's like
122.
Something insane, yeah.
122, Nick?
Yes.
I was hoping he'd be like, oh, I'm just focused on the 122nd year of IU football. I have no idea if it's 122nd year of IU football. But then if you, like, kind of get into the weeds of it, you're like, wait, what's a reference to 122? Oh, that's how many points we've scored against Purdue.
The thing with Sig is that he ran his mouth a lot his first year at IU.
Kind of toned it down.
My understanding is that the comm staff told him basically to kind of dial it back a little bit.
Oh, he's not listening to them?
Well, it's one of those things where he has kind of the BS detector where he knows when people are trying to get bites out of him and trying to use him for clicks. And I think he's kind of fed up with it, but I think you're also going to see a lot more of that now that, of course, IU's the defending national champions and whatnot. So you'll have more media parachuting in for these games and not knowing how he operates. But I think that was kind of a question where people, you're looking for a bite. You're looking for, oh, look, here's what Kurt Cignetti said. And he just does not want to dignify it.
I would tell the comm staff, you can't rein this dog in. Can't do it. Cignetti's not taking that.
I can't picture him barking. That's
I
not.
could. He's gonna no.
I can picture Mark Dykton barking.
He asserts his dominance by lowering the quarter zip even further. The more skin he shows, the more dominant he becomes.
It's going to turn into a jacket.
Yeah.
What type of dog were you there?
I don't know. I don't know. Border collie.
I watched the video of the press conference. I know Cignetti said not really. The amount of disgust on his face in saying not really. I mean, it was the peak, like, SMH. Shake my head. Maybe SMDH, right?
Might have had to, like, wipe his mouth for blood because he bit on his tongue so hard.
Oh, his facial expression was just, I want nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
It was almost like I don't have time for that.
No. He's watching
3
game
weeks.
film with Reese Davis. He's got no time.
3 weeks from Saturday, Indiana's opener. Shout out to Tyler Cherry, the Center Grove product, coming back from a super serious injury. Sig did mention yesterday he's gotten some second-team reps. I still think Grant Wilson probably is the leader to be the backup, but maybe that is a real competition there behind Josh Hoover. So, again, things getting started here with college football coming up in a few. What do you think? Pacers fans, do they care about Christmas or no?
I think they more...
It's like you want your team to be talked about on Get Up, and then they say something you don't like, and they're like, screw them.
I think they're more curious as to where they'll be able to watch these games for the most part. That's the bigger concern.
No, ain't that the truth?
Tell me the schedule, but also tell me, where am I viewing this at? That'd be nice.
Caleb mentioned NBA schedule coming out 3:00 Thursday. Has that been announced? Did I miss that?
I did not see that, but that would make sense because Adam Silver was complaining that LeBron needed to make a decision so the schedule can come out. Now we're starting to see some leaks, so it has to be right around the corner. But I haven't seen anything from Shams or anything like that about an official date of it getting released.
Nick, let's start there on this morning checkdown. Kyle Netterep going to join us here in about 10.
The Morning Checkdown. Brought to you by Suave Men Refreshing Face and Body Wash on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, let's actually start with opening day/night, Tuesday, October 20th. You're going to get your normal night, 7 o'clock, Sixers, Knicks, LeBron, Knicks, etc., blah, blah, blah. 9:30, Thunder, Spurs, rematch of Western Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
I like the 3 o'clock mark. 3 o'clock, Celtics, Pistons. It's one night out of the year. When the game gets good, it's 5 o'clock, it's 5:30, whatever. I'm fine with it. The two top teams in the Eastern Conference last year, based off record, it's one day out of the year. Who cares?
Okay, I expect you to be locked in on Tuesday, October 20th at 3 p.m. watching. I just don't see why you don't tier it a little bit more in the later. You do like a 6 o'clock tip. Why 3?
Because you want everybody isolated in their own little TV
Everybody's
spot.
at work.
Didn't everybody complain about the two Monday night games staggered just an hour apart?
See, I like those. Most people do 2 TVs anyway, or you can do the multi-view on YouTube TV. A 3 o'clock tip on a Tuesday for no reason when there's nothing else going on. Just put it like 6.
It's always amazed me that you can get away with 2 TVs. Is that real? So you got 2 TVs in the living room?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My college roommates a couple years ago used to bring in like 3 or 4 extra TVs on college football Saturdays, and they'd have like a NASA command center set up in our living room.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, it's
that's
not
peak college.
This is not a permanent set. Like we don't have the 2 TVs 24/7, 365.
Oh, got it. Okay.
It is. It comes out during football Saturdays and Sundays, and it's right there. So it's about we have a 65-inch, and then we have like a 50-inch, and they just boom, boom.
Okay.
You can do the multi-view for NFL Sunday tickets. You got all the games. You got Red Zone going, or college football. You got all the games going.
What?
Ashley's like, how are you paying attention to this? I'm like, I'm not. But it's just like ADD for sports. You're just like, whoa.
What
Overload.
occupies the second TV space during the rest of the week?
Usually it goes back in the closet. It comes out for football Saturdays.
You just put it on a stand or something?
No, it just leans against the entertainment center.
Got it. Okay. Will you send me a picture of this?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
It's quite the
Interesting.
setup. Ashley's like, I should leave you for having me to do this every week.
Christmas games announced. The Indiana Pacers will not be playing on Christmas. This is from Sham Sharnia. Spurs at Knicks. Heat at Celtics. 76ers at Lakers. The nightcap, Thunder at Timberwolves. Nuggets at Warriors. Really hard to argue any of the 5 Christmas games,
Yeah,
right?
I don't see any fault in that, but with no Pacers on there, you've already turned me to the NFL on Christmas Day.
Which is a great slate, which we talked about a little bit earlier. Speaking of the NFL, Colts Patriots joint practice today. I believe that commences at 10 o'clock. James Boyd, that's where he is at, Foxborough. Again, things that I'm watching today, Mark. How do you fare against New England's wideouts? I know it sounds weird because New England's wideouts seemingly at times, that was a question mark last year. A.J. Brown, Romeo Dobbs. Now the Patriots, we had Doug Kyde on at 9:30 yesterday. He said that through camp so far, that's been the most impressive part to this team. Not only the top of the wideout depth chart, but their depth in general at that position group. So facing Drake May, facing those wideouts, given the Colts' strength, I think that is a big matchup. And then just Daniel Jones against that defense would be the other one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious to see how they do, and also who gets the nod on Thursday for the starting quarterback position, because we debated the or position for the backup QB depth chart release. Or can't hurt feelings.
Let's keep the Richardson, Leonard, Schrader, groupie families happy.
What if they go Easton Stick to start? Wouldn't that be the wrench in the tailpipe?
Easton Stick's got a little wiggle to him. I'm not writing off Easton Stick.
I'm not writing him off. I think it'd be a great loophole for them to start him on Thursday. Take a look at this.
Actually, let's go Fever next. It's a big one tonight inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The Liberty in action here, 4.5-point favorite. We'll hit on this coming up maybe a little bit later in the 8 o'clock hour. I'd argue it's the biggest week for the Fever all season long. When you look at the standings, where the Liberty are at, where the Fever are at, then Dallas on Friday, then Atlanta on Sunday. Just a massive week. Did you see they signed some 6'6" woman yesterday?
I did not see that, no.
Mercedes Russell. So Demiris Dantas ruled out for the year. This a few weeks ago, or not a few days ago. She had surgery. I think it was a torn meniscus. So, yeah, Mercedes Russell, they've used the injury exception on her. So, I am curious. She's not probably going to factor into this, although she did start a decent amount for Seattle and LA the last couple of years. Do we continue to see KK Timpson in the starting lineup? Liberty's got a big front line, or was that just kind of a one-off there, and we'll see Mo Billings tonight? So 7:30, our airwaves, big ESPN for that one. What else? Drew Brees was at Purdue practice yesterday. I was great with Adam Vinatieri's Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah.
I saw people were
was well
bitching
done.
about it. I thought it was
Why?
excellent.
Because he took some shots?
Yeah, I thought it was
It's his Hall of Fame speech. He can do whatever the hell he
it
wants.
was a nice balance of humor, and then if you watch the whole thing, some great substance in there.
Yeah. You get to get the gold jacket. You could do whatever you want out there. It's your speech. It's your time to shine. You've worked your whole life for it.
C-Rod says in his theater room, he's got a 100-inch projector with 55 inchers on each side.
Jesus. Can I come over?
Man. Do you think he's married?
I don't know. I saw someone buying a 100-inch TV. I'm like, someone's ready for football season because that bad boy's. I don't understand how you get that in the house. I don't know. Are you burning that box? What are you doing with the 100 inches?
Boy, I could hide all my kids in that box.
Put all your Sports Illustrated's in there.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. But then good luck getting that box down the basement stairs.
So I'm saying, a 100-inch box is humongous.
Do you ever have things in your house that you're like, if we ever move from here, how are we ever going to get that out of the house?
Yeah.
I've got like a couch. I've got like a little dresser situation upstairs. I'm like, there's no chance in hell that thing's coming out of this house.
You hire movers. They worry about it. That's what we did when we moved into our house, get the movers. I'm like, I tried to do this before. I'm not doing it again. Hire the movers. Give them a few $100s.
Thanks for letting me know I can hire movers.
Well, I'm just saying, why are
Breaking
you
news
worried
here?
You don't worry about it.
Well, I look at it every day.
Well, yeah, but you don't have to worry. If you do move eventually, you don't have to say, well, how am I getting out of there? How are they getting it out of there? It's not my worry. They got to take the door off. Take the door off. You got it. Don't worry about it. Don't stress yourself out about that.
It's Brownsburg's Mark Dykton. Speaking of Brownsburg, Carlton Nenrip going to join us here coming up.
Does he want in on the Akron Zips season tickets? I need to know. We didn't make a purchase here.
That's great. That's excellent. Boy, is Akron football really at that level? What's the thought process there?
I don't know. I
Like,
mean,
are
obviously,
you truly raising
we're
great
talking
money
about
with that?
it here, so it's getting some traction.
I guess, touche. Well, can we say the same thing about Tommy McClellan's comments?
Well, yeah, but that's local, though. We're not talking Akron
he went on
Zips
McAfee.
regularly. That's true. He came on these airwaves, too.
By the way, did you see Philip?
Was that like, trying to cover his ass for?
No. I think Jake had already scheduled him, right?
I don't know.
Oh, you mean going on McAfee?
Well, in general, I'm just saying, was that because, trying to do a little damage control?
I'm going to guess the McAfee scheduling crew probably didn't have Tommy McClellan on their must-have on the Friday show prior to those comments.
Probably not.
By the way, did you see we're getting Phillip Rivers' high school on ESPN coming up?
Really?
So it's his son, his son Gunnar committed to, I think it's NC State where his dad played. Yeah, this is next Saturday, ESPN, okay? ESPN 2, St. Michael against Battleground Academy. Guess who the quarterback is for Battleground Academy?
I have no idea.
Think country music.
Well, that could go a number of ways.
The son of Luke Bryan.
Oh.
Bo Bryan. Bo Bryan against Gunnar Rivers. Does anything say Southern football like those two quarterback names?
Just the names alone, yeah.
How great is that? ESPN 2.
Luke Bryan's got a kid who's, okay.
How old is Luke Bryan?
I don't know. He makes crappy music, though, from what I've heard.
That seems like a hot take.
there's the...
That seems like a scorching hot take.
No. There's a song, his new song, or what. I don't watch country music at all or anything, but he's got that one where he's like, I got to find... Maybe we need that as a rejoinder, Nick. Are we talking about, like, fish,
you just said it's crap.
Wake up, cold beer, something like that.
Yes, that one. Play that one on the way back. Yes, and so Kevin can hear that's the new Luke Bryan song.
He has lost his fastball.
Play that one next.
50 years old for Luke Bryan. Did we just lose a bunch of listeners for you saying that?
No. Nick is going to play the song that I'm referring to, and you will see why I said that is crappy music.
Kyle Nedrip joins us next. Weather update. I'm afraid it might rain today. Nick, tell me I'm wrong.
Today's forecast from the Fox 59 Weather Authority.
We're We're going to have mostly cloudy skies today, plus there's another chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some storms may become strong to severe. Be prepared for another muggy day with a high at 89 degrees. I am Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan.
We Grow Hair Indie, the gold standard for hair restoration online. WeGrowHairIndie.com. They are one of the best in the business. And I say that in regards to our country and, frankly, outside of our country as well. I've chatted with people that have had procedures done out of the state, out of the country. And let's just say I don't think it's been ringing endorsements from them. Not my experience at all up at We Grow Hair Indie. Again, Northwest Side, building number 2 at the Pyramids. Online, it's WeGrowHairIndie.com. Make sure you check them out today, and they can get you set up. And honestly, just the evaluation, I think, will be so key for you in explaining what they offer you, how that matches your situation, and what makes sense for you. Free evaluation, private evaluation, virtual evaluation, all of that is available to you at We Grow Hair Indie. The gold standard for hair restoration. Contact them today. We Grow Hair Indie.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
So that's a song that's horrific from Luke Bryan?
Yes. Wake up,
That is
coffee,
the one.
camo, climb tree. It just, I like throwing words together.
Yeah. That's the one.
That's the one.
Luckily, our next guest, much better than any sort of Luke Bryan song like that. Let's head to the hotline right now from the Indianapolis Star. Kyle Nenrip joining us here. I love it that he's posted a scrimmages list. I feel like it's like we're in college basketball season with like the secret scrimmage list, but very public coming up here on Friday and a couple jamborees. Did I see that right, Kyle? We still got people doing jamborees in 2026?
Yeah, there's a couple of them. I enjoyed that. That sounded like my to-do list for that song there. Just reading off a list of things to, like our rollout of high school football preview coverage. Just listed offensive linemen. But anyway, no, it should be. Yeah, it'll be. There's a couple jamborees. I think 2 3-teamers. So. Those kind of came back a little bit a couple of years ago, and there's some schools doing those. Not very many. Most of them are doing kind of the, the normal one-on-one team stuff. So, but yeah, it's if you've been to these scrimmages, you can, you don't see a ton of first teamers playing a lot of minutes just because, or a lot of plays just because of the nature of week 1 is next week, but. It is kind of a trial run for those teams, and it's depending on the matchups, usually a pretty good night of football.
Any of those catch your eye that you'll be attending?
Yeah, I haven't decided just yet. I was trying to, probably still figure that out. I was maybe wanting to go see Carmel, Zionsville, but there's some other good ones out. Center Grove, Brownsburg is always interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Cathedral's playing Franklin Central. I think that'll be a decent one to watch too. So. Like I said, it's just you don't get a ton of first team time, but usually the start of the scrimmage is, the number one's playing. So, it kind of gets you a little bit of an idea for week 1.
So, Kyle, one of your latest articles was about the reloaded New Pal as they try to go for a repeat. Do you think they have the horses in order to contend for a repeat season?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Kyle Ralph, it's kind of, and I know, why he's doing that. But I was listening to him after they had their red white on Saturday, and I went out there to watch him, and he's kind of talking about to the team about we have a lot of new players, we have a lot of people who don't believe that we can do whatever, and and they do that. I'm not saying that's not true, but they also have a tradition of like no one's going to be surprised if New Pal is a really, really good again. And I don't think they'll certainly go into the season ranked number 1 in 5A. And, whether they win it or not, it's a different story, but they definitely have the top end talent. Mason Oglesby, the tight end who's going to Kansas, Sam Hershey, who's a junior defensive lineman who has offers from, just about everybody. So they've got, and Ralph's own son, Caden Ralph, he's only a junior, but he'll be a Division I offensive lineman. So they have good pieces there. He's not wrong either that, they do have, a lot of seniors who, and just kind of the tradition of it, who haven't really had their chance to shine yet. And he specifically, Ryder Gardner and Wayne Estes are 2 of those guys who, they've kind of been backups. They've played different scout team roles. Now they're going to have their chance to start. And that's kind of, for a lot of the New Pal's success is built on players like that who kind of come through the system and then, get a chance to play more as a senior, be even, in Estes' case, be a team captain. And then, it's sort of meaningful for them to kind of build up to that season. So there's quite a few players like that, but they will be definitely tested. They play the 5A state champs out of Illinois the first game of the year. They play East Central, which is always good in week 2. They've got and then IMG Academy is hanging out there in week 8, which, that's a whole different, beast unto itself. So, so there's, definitely some games on the schedule that would be really tough. But, when all's said and done, and even playing up, they're playing up in 5A by the success factor, but I think they'll still be definitely one of those last team standing if they can get through Cathedral. That's kind of the main, that's the thing too is whoever wins that Cathedral New Pal game, which most likely will be, definitely be in the sectional if they do meet, probably is one of the clear favorites at that point.
Kyle, I'm going to guess year 20 for you covering high school football in this state.
Yeah, I think it's 19 actually.
Year 19. We are very lucky to have Kyle Nedner up here in our area, and he's with us right now on the Fan Morning Show. Again, scrimmages starting on Friday, week 1 coming up a week from Friday. You've been all over this story throughout the offseason of the PBA, I believe is the acronym, the personal branding activity, a.k.a. kind of high school NIL at the IHSCA, has now adopted, I believe it is in store for this athletic calendar, this school calendar, however you want to look at it. Have you heard of any stories yet of, I guess, student athletes taking advantage of this for this year?
I've heard of a few smaller things, not a lot as far as, bigger things that have happened. I'm hoping once we get through the, get the football stuff off the ground to dive into more of that a little bit. So, I think there's some things happening. I don't think it's been, and I don't think we expected it to be anything huge, but there's been some things here that I've, littler things that I've heard of. And, I think it's a pretty small percentage of kids that are having those opportunities, kind of like we thought. So, and I know there's some concerns out there too, definitely from, I did a Coaches Confidential last week of football coaches, and this is one where, you kind of give them a chance to say their piece without putting their name on it, which you get some pretty interesting responses. But, I think the concern is that, this combined with some of the, first-time transfer rule changes leads to, people kind of bending the rules a little bit more. And people think, there's already things like that happening. So, this maybe emboldens people to be a little bit more loose, with the rules. So I think that's maybe not the PBA itself, I think is fine. And, the rule itself, I think I'd say did a good job sort of stating what's, allowed by that rule. And I think are continuing to, sort of differentiate what can and can't be done. But it also sort of, the concern, I guess, and when I saw this originally was that, there's some opportunities for people to, not go by the rule and sort of just basically pay, people behind the, under the table, that sort of thing. So that is I think that's a legit concern. And, whether you can legislate that and investigate that stuff, that'll be, sort of what's next, I would think, if those things do arise. But I think the PBA on its face and the rule has it stated, is good for high school kids and, honestly might keep kids from leaving to go to prep school in some cases. And not so much in football, but maybe other sports like basketball or even some of the more, sports you may not think of as much, to stay here and be able to make a little bit of money doing so.
Kyle, last one, and we got about a minute left, but the MIC, I believe, back intact for the first time in a while with Carmel and Center Grove. Did that simply come down to just Carmel and Center Grove just struggling to schedule enough, particularly when it came to football and trying to get 9 weeks of quality competition and not travel the whole United States?
Yeah, I think that was a big part of it. I think, and also, when that happened originally, there was definitely some hard feelings and, some things on from the mixed side of the teams that stayed there where they kind of felt like, hey, if you want to, because if you remember originally, the idea for both those schools was to go to the HCC, and then, the HCC kind of didn't vote them in. So they were kind of left in limbo, and the rest of the MIC basically said, well, we'll move on without you. And so there was, 4 or 5 years have now passed since then, and I think some of those hard feelings have smoothed over, I was kind of hoping that would happen. When it originally took place. And, so now I think, from a football standpoint, you look at the schedules from the last few years and, for Carmel, they were able to get some good games. They play Westfield now, which is a great gate. Those teams should be playing each other every year with the amount of fans that show up. And, But for like Center Grove, they were struggling to find in-state teams to play them, and Carmel was a little bit too. So this kind of allows you to fill out your schedule, allows you to bring the MIC back together, which I think is great. It allows Carmel and Center Grove, and they were going to start playing each other anyway, but now, you bring the Copper Kettle game back, which is always one of the best games of the season. So a lot of good, I think, happened here, and I think some emotions have sort of calmed in the time since that breakup happened, and having a 16 MIC just wasn't the best. I think so. The strength of the conference now being 8 teams again, I'm hoping they can sort of align with HCC in some ways, and maybe I like the idea of like, hey, you just play 2 HCC teams every year in your non-conference, and the MIC and HCC kind of rotate those opponents. And not everybody would be for that, but I think that'd be a good way just to, for those 6A teams that struggle to fill games, I think that'd be a great way to fill your schedule every year.
Yeah, I'd love to see the SEC and the Big Ten honestly adopt that, maybe one game in the non-conference along those lines as well. Coach's Confidential, always a great read, Kyle. Great work on that. Enjoy your scrimmage jamboree viewing Friday, and look forward to a few more chats throughout the high school season, man.
Absolutely. Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me on.
That is the best. Kyle Nedrup right there, year 19 at the Indianapolis Star for him. What's the latest on the PRP injection for Alec Pierce? We'll hit that. Talk a lot of Colts here to start the 9 o'clock hour. Fan Morning Show here. Kevin Bowen, Mark Dykton, Nick Rodecap on a Tuesday.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Mark Dykton in for James as he's out in Boston covering the Colts and Patriots joint practices ahead of Thursday's preseason opener. Kevin Bowen sliding back into the chair. A quick trip to the bathroom. I didn't see you go outside. This is kind of breaking show protocol.
I went second cup of tea.
Okay.
One of those days with the old throat.
Now, is this Earl Grey? Is this a regular Lipton? What are we talking about here?
Whatever
we got.
British something, yeah.
British something.
Okay. I don't know anything about tea, man.
Hail out in Anderson, so be careful out there. Apparently, there's some storms rolling through.
Skies look like super dark here to the northeast. So, yeah, it looks like a ton of rain. Northeast part of the state and potentially a little bit here coming up today. PRP, what do you know? What do you know about Alec Pierce's PRP injection?
I know that is, a second injection into his surgically repaired ankle. It happened in June. And, it sounds like that's not necessarily out of the realm of, normalcy. But it also is telling me that maybe things weren't healing the way that we thought they would when he got it done earlier this month. So, as far as we know, that timeline of 4 to 6 months has not changed. Looks like we're going to be closer to 6 months anyway. But like you said, the 2-week window that Ballard laid out is come and gone. And it doesn't seem like he's any closer to getting on the field. The training camp practice, we already hit the under 5.5. I think we'll be lucky if we hit 2 at this point. Quite honestly.
I'm trying to what do we know and what are we curious about? I guess they're kind of like two different debates.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious about that point you just brought up. Was what he had done in June reportedly the second PRP injection because they felt like the 4 to 6 month timetable was leaning more towards the back end.
Mm-hmm.
That is my curiosity.
Or was he still in pain? Was he like, you know what? The pain management is not good, decreasing. I can maybe use a little help here.
What we do know is, yes, Ballard mentioned at the start of camp, probably going to be a week or 2. Today is week 2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as we sit here right now, Alec Pierce and his return to practice is not imminent.
Did he travel with the team? Do we know that he did?
Do not know that. I think most injured guys would because they're there for 4 days. So it's like, you're with your doctors and rehab people and all of that. So I would assume, but I don't know that. But yeah, to me, Mark, it's more of we know he has not met that timetable that Ballard thought at the start of camp. So that's, ring your little alarm bells for that. But if we do go back to Pierce's original 4 to 6 months, we're still kind of in that as of now. Again, 4 months was the end of July. 5 months is the end of August. 6 months is the end of September. Certainly, those are 3 very different worry levels that you have here. If this all of a sudden lasts until the end of September, you're talking Ravens, Chiefs, Texans. That ain't good to miss at all. So that's, I guess, my question. Now, if you're still in the 5 months, I don't think it's the end of the world if we're comparing this to other injury situations. Not ideal, to be very, very clear, but not the end of the world. That would still leave you a couple weeks for him to get ready for September 13th. Maybe week 1 is he playing, 25 snaps. Maybe that's something that you're doing there. Again, not ideal for a player that has this much responsibility and you're asking even more out of him, and he's such a key, unique element to your offense. But I'm trying to slot out, I guess, today, Mark, what do we know and what are we curious about?
And you paid him a bunch of money. So that helps, too. It doesn't help that Josh Downs is dealing with injuries as well. So your wide receiver...
He could be back today. Steichen did say that. Could be back today, Downs with the groin.
But your wide receiver group as of now, a bit concerning, I would say. The calls for a free agent wide receiver addition growing a bit larger. They added DJ Montgomery. I don't know how much that helps necessarily and whatnot. But yeah, there are definitely some questions there. Now, are you still of the mindset that despite this latest report, week 1 is still on the table for him? You're not ruling anything out just yet. It's a little too early for that.
I mean, we're still what?
A little under a month?
4.5 weeks. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4.5 weeks. 5.5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you're 5 Sundays away once you get to this Sunday. So, again, I keep on using the word ideal. Sure, ideally he'd be practicing right now, but he's not. How much time does he need? I would think you would need multiple weeks. I think you'd kind of be in that 2 to 3 week camp. Zaire Franklin kind of had a similar situation last year, Mark, where he missed the entire camp, ankle procedure in the offseason, missed the entire camp, got back to work when they went to their facility, had a couple weeks, ramped it up, played normally, quantity snap-wise during the season. Now you could argue how effective he was. So, like, that's kind of the debate of, again, playing versus effective. And we just have yet to see Pierce be a guy that, pops up on the injury report a lot, missed time, any sort of that. So it's a bit unique. I was curious, too. I mentioned this in the 9 o'clock hour yesterday, but wanted to make sure we tossed this in. We talked about the depth chart earlier in linebacker as anyone's guess right now with C.J. Allen now having missed close to a week. Lou Anarumo said over the weekend that he is open or thinks that he'll probably play guys in specific roles on game day. In years past, we're used to the Colts playing their two linebackers pretty much every snap. Think EJ Speed next to Zaire Franklin. Think Bobby Okereke next to Darius Leonard. Think whatever, Anthony Walker next to Leonard. I mean, we are used to, hey, those are your two linebackers, and along with like Kenny Moore and a safety, they play every snap. It doesn't sound like Lou thinks that'll be the case this year. So that's a position group that needs some clarity and, a little bit more of a hodgepodge rotating element. That to me is not ideal. You tried it last year and it wasn't settled till Jermaine Pratt got here. But just something to keep an eye on.
We have Zach Hicks coming up on the other side. You spoke about clarity. I also want to get some clarity. Thought we could circle back to your 53 questions that you had posed before training camp. Maybe see how much your answers have changed after you've gotten some eyes on the team as of late.
Now, we played the audio earlier. Kurt Signetti saying not really in response to him having any comment about the Purdue AD's comments.
Yeah.
And we both were hoping for a little more WWE, right?
A little more, yeah.
Not sick. This from Nathan. If he would have hit him with the Lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of sheep.
That's a mic drop right there.
Would you have liked that?
Uh-huh.
And Nathan says he's a Purdue guy.
If he would have done that, I mean, Purdue's already playing little brother a lot of the time, especially after those comments. But if he would have dropped that hammer, it would have been over.
See,
it would have been the Vince Carter over gif.
I think he could have gone with the subtle, like, I've got 123 things to worry about here. And then people are like, wait, why do you use the word? What is it? What's the number again, Nick? Is it 123?
It's 122 to 3.
122 to 3.
Yes.
If he could have said, hey, we got 122 problems to worry about here that are more concerned with winning. And people are going to be like, wait, why do you say 122? Oh, that's how many points they've scored against Purdue.
I also think he could be, I'll let the scoreboard do the talking.
No, well, but I mean, come on. I'm not.
You got to think
this isn't an IHSA poster that says the only thing I smoke is my opponents, or the only thing I light up is the scoreboard.
I think 2 years ago, Sig would have been more abrasive, and he might have been inclined to do something like that. But now I think he's kind of dialed it back a little bit.
Yeah. He's matured.
I think he has. I mean,
he's a lion at the zoo that just needs the cage to be unlocked.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember Big Ten Media Days when it was his first year at IU, and he called the Rose Bowl. He said it was a dusty old stadium, and they were going there to kick UCLA's butt and go home. And even since then, he's dialed it back. He's become less abrasive, and he's let IU's play do the talking.
He's matured.
He's still got a little. Did you hear him at Big Ten Media Day? His SEC comments. He's still got a little bit in him.
He's going to put 70 on them if he can.
You imagine?
I don't have to imagine. He basically has the last couple of meetings.
We get Barry Odom's reaction when his AD said that. Oh boy, 9 o'clock out. A lot of Colts talk. Zach Hicks going to join us next.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
All right, 9 o'clock on a Tuesday. It's actually Mark Dykton filling in for James Boyd. In about an hour, it'll be Colts and Patriots on the field out there in Foxborough. Joint practice number one and only for the Colts out there. They'll take on the Patriots Thursday night, 7:30, the kickoff of the preseason opener. A man that I stood next to a few times here over the last, I guess, 3 or 4 practices up there at Grand Park, joins us now on the hotline. Always enjoy hearing Zach Hicks's insight. Locked on Colts. Him and Jake Arthur do an outstanding job there. Zach, safe and sound back to the homeland. What was that, a 9-hour commute home you had?
Yeah, about 9 to 10 hours. It's always good getting out there, seeing the practice and seeing everything. But, man, those drives sometimes are a little rough. I need everyone to start listening more to Locked On Colts so I can just start flying a little bit more, and then we'll be good with that.
Yeah. Yes, a very, very smart plug right there. It is a great listen, so we appreciate you providing some insight over here, too, with us on the morning show. I want to start with I saw a tweet you had over the weekend of, you've been watching Colts camp practices since 2019, and you say here, Sauce Gardner is easily the best cornerback I've ever seen in that time, which includes Stephon Gilmore, to be fair. Not because he's locking up receivers, just that he makes everything look so easy and smooth, just a high-level player. I am also equally as impressed by Sauce Gardner. Could you describe a little bit more in just kind of what you think he means to this defense and I guess that cornerback room in general?
Yeah, he just looks so comfortable out there. You've seen him for all these practices here, but just the 3 days I saw, the pass breakups never look like it's him reeling or him grabbing or him in a bad position. He seems to always be in the right spot. He's getting his hand in front of receivers. And I know part of this is because of who the guys the Colts have out there at wide receiver right now, right? No Alec Pierce, Josh Downs missed 2 of those practices. So I know there's obviously that caveat to it, but yeah, everything just looks so comfortable for him. Even on some of these plays too, where you're seeing these moments where they are in full pads, but obviously you don't want to lay into one of your teammates when he's in a vulnerable position where they're throwing a double move to his side and he bailed from his coverage to read it and he's meeting the receiver right there. And in a game, he would definitely make a big play there, make a hit, make a play on the ball. In practice, you kind of ease up a little bit. So he's seeing the game just at a different level. There are some times where there are catches in front of him, but he never looks like he's chasing. He never looks like he's panicking out there. And I think we're going to see that in the regular season too. He's just a high-level player, and those high-level players certainly pop on practice just because you can see just every little thing they're doing just makes their life look so easy out there. So I love what I saw from Sauce Gardner, just really keying in on him and watching him and seeing how he moves and how he works within the defense. I think he's going to be a big piece this year. And I think any defensive coordinator would love to have him, but especially Lou Anarumo, with how much man coverage he wants to play, I think having a player like Sauce is going to be big for them.
Zach Hicks joining us on the hotline. Outside of Sauce Gardner, what other notable observances did you have out at camp, Zach?
Yeah, I think one of the big ones was, I heard a lot of beat guys, Kevin, and a lot of people out there that were talking about Seth McGowan at running back. And I wasn't super high on his college film, so it was certainly something that I wanted to see to believe. I completely trust all of your guys' opinions out there, but I really wanted to see it in person. And yeah, you can totally see where all the hype is coming from with him at running back. He looks smooth. He looks a little bit thinner than what he did in college, where he was a big lumbering back at times. He looks really comfortable, really confident. I was really impressed with how well he caught the ball in the 3 practices I saw. You don't see many mental gaps from him. You don't see many drops. And then when he got the opportunity to break off big runs, you saw those in practice as well. So the Seth McGowan hype train was certainly something I really wanted to see in practice, and I was able to see that these last couple of days. Aside from that, there were, I thought Ashton Doolin had a pretty good couple of days. I know a lot of the reports had said he'd been a little bit quiet, but I think the 3 practices I saw were 3 of his better practices, especially Saturday and even the Thursday practice as well, the scrimmage. I thought he looked really good out there. And then keeping on offense, Daniel Jones, just, again, seeing how he's moving, coming off that Achilles injury, it is absolutely insane. Again, just seeing it in person, seeing that this is a guy who tore his Achilles not even a year ago, and he looks just like Daniel Jones again. Velocity on the football, pushing it down the field, running around in the backfield, getting out on those under center bootlegs that we all had our questions about. He just looks like Daniel Jones out there. So a lot of good things from the offense. And then real quick on defense, seeing The linebacker rotation was really interesting. Austin Ajike had a really good stretch of practices. I thought, Team Davis Gaither had a couple good days as well. So I know C.J. Allen being down with an injury is certainly a bit concerning, but seeing those veterans, or I guess Ajike counts as a veteran in this room, being in his second year with the team. But I think seeing those guys kind of have some decent days, makes me feel better about the linebacker room, at least compared to last year at this time.
Zach Hicks of Locked On Colts joining us on the hotline. Zach, the talk of the show is Alec Pierce getting his second PRP injection back in June. You responded just a little over half hour ago. You don't think it's too big of a deal that he had this second injection? We're kind of debating what the timeline is and what the reasoning for it was, if he's having pain or discomfort still or whatever. But you say not too much to worry about as of yet.
Yeah, I want to put the stipulation out there that I'm not a doctor by any sense of the word. It's pure speculation from everything. I'm following along with what everybody else is, but I did talk to a buddy of mine who's a doctor and said, long term, this really shouldn't be too much of a concern. It doesn't seem like there was any setback, so this was probably the scheduled plan of attack for Pierce. And from my understanding, the PRP injections are more so about just making it a faster recovery and reducing that swelling. And that's why they went with it the first time, right? Before the surgery, they went with that PRP injection to see if just reducing the swelling and getting that recovery speed up could fix it on its own. Then they had to go to the surgery, and then late June, they went back to it. So everywhere I've seen is 6 to 8 weeks to see the results of something like that, which if you're getting it in late June, that puts the highest window at the end of August. So they'll probably reevaluate by then at the latest. We'll see with Alec Pierce. Again, there's going to be so much speculation, and I'm certainly not someone in the position where I should be making the biggest speculations. So I think the biggest thing with him is let me see what that first injury report looks like, and then I can freak out, I guess. I know that's kind of a wait and see mode, but if he's on that first injury report as a DNPs and we're seeing it linger into the season, then we'll be really concerned. But as of right now, nobody's talking too concerned about it. Getting it in June doesn't seem like the biggest deal. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see here with Alec Pierce injury like we have been all off season now.
Again, that's the voice of Zach Hicks. Does great work. Locked On Colts. You hear him with Jake Arthur and outstanding coverage. You can follow. Is it Zach Hicks 2? I should know your Twitter name off the top of my head. Does that sound right?
Yeah, Zach Hicks 2. Yep.
Zach Hicks 2 over on the Twitter sphere. Okay, let's stick with wideout for just a second, and let's go under the assumption Alec Pierce is healthy for the start of the season. Your DEFCON level of the wideout group, would you call it, you just ate at Taco Bell 3 weeks ago, or would you call it, you don't have a worry in the world right now and you've got your feet up on the couch ready to watch the greatest day of football in the history of football?
I would say it's probably somewhere in the middle. I'm certainly not as concerned, I think, as others would be. Assuming Pierce is healthy and good to go early in the season, I know there have been a lot of concerns and talks about that other wide receiver spot, but I think when you're rolling out an offense that has Pierce as the number one, where he's going to be getting a bulk of the targets because you're paying him to get a bulk of the targets, he's still going to dominate on the vertical plane. And he's the space setter. He's the guy who spaces out the defense and makes life easier for everybody else. So as long as he is out there, I think you can feel fine about the rest of the room. Josh Downs being in his typical role, maybe an uptick in some targets as well. And then you have Tyler Warren, right? Those are going to be your three guys that you are just absolutely feeding the football to. So then that other wide receiver, when you go into 11 personnel, which I think is going to drop even more this year, they were only in 11 personnel, which is one tight end and one running back, at a 62% rate last season, which was by far and away the lowest of Shane Steichen's career. I expect that to maybe drop to even 55% this year, and they're going to be in heavy tight end sets most of this year. So that other wide receiver spot is mostly a rotational starter, and I think guys like Doolin and Westbrook-Akina can perfectly fill in that and be fine. But I do think there is some concern because if there is an injury to Pierce or Pierce isn't fully recovered from this, then everyone gets bumped up, and it's kind of like what we always talk about at tight end. Hey, before we got Tyler Warren, it was Mo Alley-Cox as a starter and these other guys getting prominent roles, and it wasn't good enough. Warren kind of sets the pace of that tight end room, and Pierce kind of does that for wide receiver. So if Doolin has to jump up and be wide receiver one and Westbrook-Akina has to jump up, that's a bit of a concern. So I've always been in the camp where, if they went out and signed another veteran to a one-year deal, I wouldn't complain about it whatsoever, getting another guy in here to get some of those targets in 11 personnel on third down and alleviate some of that stress wouldn't hurt anybody. But if they do go into the season and guys stay healthy, I don't think it's the biggest concern in the world because Doolin and Westbrook-Ikhine are perfectly fine as like fourth or fifth options in the offense. Like they are good blockers. They're good special teamers when needed. They can do some of the run after catch stuff in smaller targets. So I think they can be fine. But like adding a veteran receiver like a Keenan Allen or something like that could make a lot of sense as well.
Zach Hicks of Locked On Colts joining us for a few more minutes here on Fan Morning Show. Anthony Richardson's camp has been a mixed bag, to say the least. We've kind of debated on the show, Zach, could he possibly be an outright cut when the Colts start trimming their roster? Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he certainly could be. I think one aspect of it that makes me think it wouldn't go that far is because they've kind of already paid him all the money that they can pay him this year. Like, you're not saving anything from cutting him because all of his bonuses and stuff have been paid out. So I think he's like if they were to trade him, I think an acquiring team would only get him for like the vet minimum. So you would only really save like the vet minimum if you cut him. So when you're already kind of paying him that much and the third quarterback can be a game day inactive that obviously is dressed in case of like emergencies and stuff like that, I think it just makes more sense to keep him around. But I'm with you, like with the camp he's had and with, Shane Steichen's love of Riley Leonard and Riley Leonard's relationship with Daniel Jones too, I do think he's probably on pace to be that third quarterback. So a trade certainly makes the most sense here. But I think if they don't get a trade done, they would probably keep him as a third quarterback. Like, he hasn't been a disrupting force in the locker room. The guys still like him by all accounts that I can tell. And maybe you guys have different information than me on that. But, it seems like he's getting along with everybody and things are going well. And it makes more sense to have a third quarterback because he's still better than Easton Stick as the third quarterback. But, yeah, it hasn't been the best camp. Even the couple days I saw, like, I thought Thursday's practice was the worst I had seen him live in my time covering the team. The weekend practices were much better for him, but there were still some inconsistencies in the red zone. So he really hasn't taken those steps forward, and I would say he even took a step back from last year's training camp. So we'll certainly see what's in store for him. Maybe another team gets desperate if a quarterback goes down in these preseason games, but has not been the best all season. I still think, though, like third quarterback makes more sense than outright cutting him, unless like on the waivers, somebody waived like another young quarterback that Steichen likes and you want to put that guy as QB3, then it could make sense waiving Anthony Richardson. But outside of that, I think you would rather keep him than just cut him because he's going to be better than most third quarterbacks that you could get in this league.
Can't believe I'm saying this, but August 30th, roster cut downs for those that are looking for potentially the next deadline in regards to Anthony Richardson's status on the football team. Should we find and fight Zach Hicks 1 on Twitter?
I remember these guys on a show back in the day. We tried to call out that person or whatever, and his first response in like 6 years was like, "I'm not giving it up." Like, it was his first tweet in like 6 years. So we'll see if we can eventually get that guy off it. I would love to just be the Zach Hicks. Although I think I'm like the second most famous Zach Hicks was a basketball player that's named Zach Hicks, who was in camp with like Boston Celtics and stuff. So that guy still pops up first on Google searches. So once we knock him down first, and then we go after the guy who has the @Zach Hicks handle, and then we'll go from there.
Hey, sound like the Bowen kids in the backyard. First is the worst, second is the best.
This guy hasn't tweeted since 2015. Right. Come on now.
Zach Hicks 2 on Twitter, where you can find his work, and Locked On Colts, where you can hear his voice alongside Jake Arthur. Zach, great seeing you over the weekend, man. Glad you made it back safe, and as always, we appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hopefully it cools off out there. It was really hot over the weekend. Hopefully it cools off for you guys.
Glasses fogged up day, right, Mark Dykton? We all were in agreement here. You, me, and Nick Rodecap.
100%, yeah. I don't know what the hell's going on outside right now because it looks like something's going on. It's getting dark out there. There's clouds all over the place.
The radar still looks like it's all like northeast of us.
But it looks like it's coming here any second now.
It's been eerie, honestly, since the drive in here. So looking forward to later this morning. Again, it's Colts and Patriots coming up. Enjoying practice. Coming up in a few. Mark, you want to get into some of the pre-camp questions we had on the Colts and just kind of update where things are at right now?
Yeah, you did all this hard work on these 53 questions or 59, whatever you ended up on, because I know you did some extracurricular
53
activities.
Plus a bonus.
Okay. All right. That's the teacher in you. Yeah, so I thought we could I perused, I looked, I researched. And I was like, there's some questions here I could have that maybe we can come back to and see how much has changed since the first couple weeks of camp.
So we will do that here upcoming. Again, just to remind everybody tonight, it is a massive week here for the Indiana Fever. Just to kind of go over this real quick, Mark, they face the Liberty tonight, and probably a good place to start is looking at the standings. Right now, the Fever are 5th in the standings. 4 through 8 are separated by 1.5 games. So 4 through 8, 1.5 games. So that's the difference between hosting a first-round series and being on the road against the Minnesota Lynx in round 1. Tonight, they play 7th in the standings, 5 versus 7, the Liberty. Only a half game separates those two. Friday, they play the Wings. They're 8th in the standings right now, but only a game and a half separates those teams. Sunday, they play the Dream. Right now, the Fever and the Dream actually have the same record. The Dream have the tiebreaker. So that's why they're 4 and the Fever are 5. So think about that. In this week, you're 5 in the standings. You're going to play 7, 8, and 4, and 1.5 games separate all those teams.
Yeah. I mean, if there's ever pressure to start putting some wins together again and starting to hone down your defense, it's this week, because you can go as high as you want. You can get knocked out of the playoffs, quite honestly, if you have a bad stretch here in these next few games.
A dozen games left in the season overall. They'll take that break for the World Cup here coming up at the end of August. They'll return right around mid to late September, play 4 regular season games, and then it's playoff time. But
you imagine they go to 8th seed and they play the Minnesota Lynx, like 2 games to end the regular season and then go into the playoffs and good God.
Yeah, and who knows how much the Lynx will be playing or resting players. They're up 3 games on everybody else in the league, so they could be having that 1 seed clinched. So, again, I know the discourse of the Fever is a lot. We certainly led off the show with that yesterday, but this is a massive week on the floor for them. 2-1 at the least, I think, is vital and really could help cushion their position right now to try and get home court. All right, Nick, let's check it down.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, again, Colts joint practice coming up in about a half hour or 40 minutes. It is in New England, Foxborough, that is. Mark Dykton, biggest thing that James Boyd will be observing in person today in your eyes will be what?
Ooh, I would say, I think, like you stated earlier, the wide receiver matchup against the Colts secondary. That is a juicy matchup that I didn't really think too much. Of course, I'm usually focused in on Daniel Jones. How's that going to look, this and that? But the cornerbacks of Sauce Gardner and whatnot against the duo of the Patriots wideouts has got me intrigued, because I think we think that the Colts secondary is the best unit on their team, and how will they go up against the defending AFC champion team?
Yeah,
A.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly on that. And then just Daniel Jones against that defense. Pretty good defense at every level. Obviously, Christian Gonzalez, is an elite cornerback. So we've seen the starting offense for the Colts a little sluggish over the weekend. How do we see them perform today? Again, it's a lone joint practice this week, Colts and Patriots. And then coming up Thursday night, it is Colts and Patriots out there for preseason game number 1. You can hear that on our airwaves, 4:30, the pregame huddle. TV coverage, Greg Rakestraw, Rick Venturi, and Lara Overton.
Do you know who Drake May's backup quarterback is? They'll probably see a lot on Thursday.
Drake May's backup is, oh boy, I got nothing. I was going to say Stidham, but that was Bo Nix's backup.
They go like
right?
this. Does this do anything for you?
Oh, really?
Tommy DeVito, baby.
He's the legit backup?
He's the second stringer.
So you tell me, is his agent going to be stalking the sidelines?
I was wondering, is he out? Like, could James get an interview with
James
him?
Boyd give him a little shoulder bump.
Mr. Stellato, can I get an interview, please? James Boyd, the Athletic.
Tommy DeVito, really?
Yeah. So we might see a lot of Tommy DeVito. Tommy Cutlets on Thursday.
Richardson and Leonard, that's the plan for Thursday. We'll await updates from Shane Steichen, anything on the Alec Pierce situation, all of that coming to you. And I think James will hop on with Jake or John here later today. Again, Fever tonight, 7:30. Our airwaves will begin coverage at 7, and it is on ESPN. Ryan Rucco, Rebecca Lobo, and Holly Rowe. Major League Baseball, kind of a quiet day, right? Yesterday.
Very quiet, yeah. Outside the Brewers losing to the Padres, the Cardinals fell to the Phillies, but outside of that, not really too much regional action there. But Monday's usually pretty slow. So Indianapolis Indians out in Nashville take on the Sounds for a 6-game set. Cubs take on the Nationals in the nation's capital. Reds and White Sox in Chicago. That should be a fun one. And then hopefully the Padres keep taking care of Joel A. Erickson's Brewers.
What was the laundry quote you gave me earlier? I said I was very happy to see Tarek Skubal struggle in his first start, and I have never cheered against him really in my life until he became a Dodger.
Yeah, because he's wearing the Dodgers laundry. So Jerry Seinfeld has a famous routine where he said, sports is all about your favorite laundry. I like the guy in that shirt. I don't like that shirt. So if that guy goes in that shirt that I don't like, I root against that laundry now.
It's kind of funny. You see, like, young kids, they're a little bit more individualistic, I feel like, with their fandom initially.
Oh, yeah. The Steph Curry jerseys.
Sure.
I'm a Pacers fan, but I like Steph Curry. I like Giannis, and now I got to get a Heat jersey. It's all that stuff, yeah. I think that's also because of the YouTube situations and everything like that, where they can just pull up highlights and stuff. Back when we were kids, it's like you watch the team that was on your local television, and that's all you got. And occasionally you get a TNT game or ESPN or something, but for the most part,
AM radio.
you were stuck with the
Dighton.
team that you were born into regionally.
Speaking of by the way, I see in the YouTube chat, those are discussing fantasy football. We should get a fantasy football person on here the next week or so.
Oh, I need some assistance here.
Near in draft time, aren't we?
Alec Pierce, #1 overall pick. Yay or nay? What do we say?
Boy, I would probably say nay as of right now on that. But
Hey.
I do like me some Tyler Warren a lot. Speaking of, boy, that was going to be a horrible transition. I was just going to say the Christmas Day slate of games is out from the ESPN. Shams Charania from the NBA, I should say. Shams Charania with this: Spurs at Knicks, Heat at Celtics, 76ers at Lakers, Thunder at T-Wolves, Nuggets at Warriors.
So apparently the early tip for the October 20th games is because the Knicks have a banner ceremony at 6:30. That's going to take 30 minutes to get the banner ceremony underway. Spike Lee just going to be yelling the whole time? What do we do? Timothy Chalamet raising the banner? Why do we need a half hour dedicated to that?
Yeah.
Put it up there. Let's start the game. Tip off.
Yeah,
Let's go.
just
2
do
minutes.
that, and everybody comes out and gets their rings, and yeah. Now, opening night is what Mark's talking about. That was a Christmas slate.
The Christmas slate, no Pacers, so I'm not interested.
Okay, so opening night is actually opening day. Celtics Pistons at 3 o'clock on a
stinks.
Tuesday.
I hate it.
I like it.
I don't.
I like it because, first off, why the hell else would you watch Celtics? You think on a Wednesday night you're gonna be like, oh yeah, Celtics Pistons, here we go. Let's get the beers. Let's get the two TVs in the living room.
Why
Let's
are
order
you
some
more
wings.
tempted to watch it on a Tuesday afternoon
Because
when you're
it's
at work?
afternoon sports. You're
Not
not
the
working at
World
3
Cup.
o'clock on a Tuesday.
It's not the World Cup. It's one of 82.
When's the last time you've worked 3 o'clock on a Tuesday?
Well, never, because I'm on the morning show. But even still, I'm not. Even if I have my afternoon free, I'm not going to seek it out. Well, it's on at 3 o'clock, so I have to watch it now. If it was on at 6, I would never watch it. But because it's on 3, now I need to. No.
You'd be more willing to see maybe the ending at 5:30.
Kick it down. No. Push it to like 5 or 6.
What about our brethren overseas that now can get a little bit more appointment viewing for that one?
Okay. They can easily get on the Russian, hacking website and look it up.
Well, there's a thing called a clock and time, and that's not very ideal for them.
This sound very American. Why do I care about what they're watching at what time?
I knew you were going to go there.
I have to watch, when the Royal Rumble's in Saudi Arabia, I have to watch it at 11 a.m. I don't want to do that necessarily, but I have to.
I got no issue with the 3 o'clock game. We'll get a 7 o'clocker. It'll be 76ers and Knicks, and a 9:30. It'll be Thunder and Spurs. No issue with the 3 o'clocker.
I don't like it. And Alex Golden's on my side, and that's all I need. You're on an island, my friend.
So you want the game win?
I'd kick it a couple hours down.
Let me ask that.
5 o'clock. 5:30.
5:30 is going to bump up to
Who cares?
To the 7 o'clock tip.
Multi-screen.
They're going to overlap. People bitch and moan about the Monday Night Football overlaps when we have a doubleheader on Monday night.
Well, okay, but we also have NFL Sunday Ticket, and everybody seems to like that quite a lot, and they like NFL Red Zone where we're jumping all over the place. You can't handle it for a single time?
Nick, can you break the tie? You good with the 3 o'clocker or no?
No. Because I have a friend from IU who lives on the West Coast. And
lunchtime.
But if
even
you're an
better.
NBA fan, I mean, sure, you watch the like the first quarter, part of the second quarter. Then you got to go back to work if you're on your lunch break when the game starts.
No one is locked in.
It just seems too early.
Outside of being a doctor, no job's that important. You can't dial up the final 4 minutes of the game.
Are they going to call it opening night and then have the game start at 3 p.m. and have a shot of the sun still clearly being up? And I don't know. There's
Let's
a continuity
be honest, this is
there.
far better than Major League Baseball starting the season like a week early in Japan that one year.
That's true. Especially because the Cubs had to be the Dodgers punching bag for that particular occasion.
That was an utter joke. We're way over. Let's get a weather update. Skies, I don't know. Maybe they're starting to look a little better outside. And we'll get into the Colts conversation, updating you questions of camp, the latest on Alec Pierce on the other side.
Today's forecast from the Fox 59 Weather Authority.
We're going to have mostly cloudy skies today, plus there's another chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some storms may become strong to severe. Be prepared for another muggy day with a high at 89 degrees. I am Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan.
Hey, it's Mark. James is out in Boston. Kevin's off to kindergarten, so it's myself and Greg Rexstar. Wednesday morning, we'll talk all things Colts and recap Caesar Liberty. Fun starts at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5. Laptop. Oh, is that gonna sound weird?
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Well, James Boyd, I would assume, currently en route to Colts-Patriots joint practice. Out there in Foxborough, it's myself, Kevin Bowen, Mark Dykton. Thank you to Nick Rodicap on the ones and twos here all morning long. Mark, we're kind of entering the next phase of training camp. If you look at the next 2 weeks, practice is more spread out. You throw in some preseason games. You throw in joint practices. I believe, if I have this correct, the Colts have, let's call them evaluations, practice games. They have 7 of them over the next 2 weeks. 5 of them are against other teams. 2 preseason games, 3 joint practices. Today, New England. Next week, you got 2 against Atlanta. You only practice against yourself twice here the next 2 weeks. That comes Saturday and Sunday. Those are actually the final practices, Colts versus Colts, up at the Droplight Grand Park campus. So, now we're starting to get into less quantity of camp practices, but I would say truer evaluations. A little bit more spread out, but a little bit truer on the evaluations.
And then we'll be cutting the rosters down, and we've got lots of concerns there. So stuff's going to start ramping up here.
August 30th.
Yes.
The big old roster. That's a Sunday this year. 90
Have fun
to
with that.
53. Boy.
Maddie, sorry. Got to, watch Twitter, see if there's any roster cuts.
I should probably let Maddie know right now. Oh, boy.
That'll be a fun conversation. Do you want to dive into, you did this article ahead of training camp, your 53 questions.
Yeah, what do you got?
Heading into camp. So I was looking at your article, and I thought, could have some fun here. Kind of see how much your opinions have changed, your mindset after getting some eyes on what the Colts are trotting out there in 2026. So let's start here. You had, I believe, one of your first questions, I think it was 7th on the list, is there a sneaky free agent addition coming? Now, Keenan Allen seems to be talk of the town. We're counting down. Is he going to get called by Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard? Will he be there? Is that still a position you would like to see addressed? Also, one that I haven't heard, the veteran pass rush. That was a talk heading into it, and I feel like that's kind of gone by the wayside with all this Alec Pierce news and everything like that. So I'm curious, your thoughts, how much has that changed?
Well, we're 9 practices into camp. I would argue they haven't had really a single notable free agent acquisition.
No.
They've made a couple of back into the roster moves, but I would say nothing more than that. And I guess when I said sneaky, Mark, I almost push wide receiver and defensive end to the side. Like, to me, those are rather obvious.
Yes.
To me, it's kind of like, do you add a veteran running back? Do you add a veteran linebacker? You remember last year, a month into the season, who'd they add? Jermaine Pratt.
Right.
And he ended up being a full-time starter.
And he's still out there from what
Correct.
Yeah.
I was curious, too, like, do they add a veteran quarterback?
Yeah.
I would argue most of those guys are probably on a roster, to be fair. But, again, Leonard, Richardson, how comfortable do you sleep at night?
And Daniel Jones' injury history, where you're like,
right.
We throw in Leonard to the Wolves if we need to. Anthony Richardson, we're going to keep him around just in case.
So the answer to that so far has been no. And again, we've seen some veterans signed by other teams and, wide receiver, whether it's Stephon Diggs to the Commanders or Deebo Samuel to the 49ers. Again, we've seen some of these moves, but so far, nothing obvious free agent move and nothing sneaky either.
You mentioned Jermaine Pratt, so I will go right there. That was your 11th one. Do we see a return of veteran linebacker Jermaine Pratt? He's still out there. He was the 3rd leading tackler on the team. As of now, the Colts have all 3 leading tacklers from their team. Zaire Franklin, Nick Cross, Jermaine Pratt, all off the roster. We've asked who's going to lead the team in tackles. Your 3rd leading tackler is still out there in free agency.
Boy, I said it to you earlier, man. At linebacker right now, if you're writing down a depth chart, you better have your whiteout close by. I'm not going to lie. Ever since I said that, all I want to do is smell rubber cement.
You've got a problem. Do we have to have a sit down here, an intervention? You're trying to just go to the supply store, Office Depot, and get rubber cement.
Put Staples on high alert.
Those Expo markers can only get me so far.
You were going to town at those during the break. I was like, Kevin, you're professional.
But at linebacker, gosh, now I'm picturing the rubber cement can and unscrewing it. How
you've got a problem. We need to.
Yesterday was Meet the Teacher Day, so you're in the classroom.
You're just eyeing all the supplies.
Oh my gosh, you see all these supplies everywhere. It's
You're like Lois Griffin with the pill bottle on the table.
They say don't get high on your own supply. Kevin's like, oh, teacher, I see you got an Amazon box here. Let me check this out.
So much nostalgia coming out. By the way, did you say Amazon is down for the day?
Somebody said that they're having like a nationwide like outage or something. I don't know how true that was, but
That'd be bigger than COVID.
I know.
Linebacker, yeah, I again, you're writing it in light pencil right now, Mark. I mean, if they went to play a game tomorrow, Akeem Davis-Gaither, I think, would be a starter. And I'll go, I guess, Bryce Betcher, the rookie out of Oregon. But I'm not writing off Austin, and I always butcher his last name. I think it's a Jakey, number 58. I look at it as those three for 2 spots, and then where's CJ Allen? That's the question. We're now nearing a week missed for a hamstring for him. Remember, he missed the first 2 days. So what are we, 9 days into camp? He's missed 6 of them. That's a lot.
Not ideal for your rookie linebacker.
So, you assume will factor in at some point, but, with all these hamstring growing, all this stuff, it seems to be at least a week with these guys.
Okay, 34th on your list. You mentioned the potential for a more physical camp to help the Colts win ugly and close games. How would you compare the physicality in this camp to previous ones under Shane Steichen?
Yeah, pretty similar. Again, they are doing some live tackling with their number 3 units, but what Steichen has kind of adopted in this is the NFL mandates a ramp-up period to training camp. So you can't put full pads on, I believe, for the first 4 practices. What Shane has done is, okay, once we get to the point where we're allowed to put full pads on, I want to pretty much wear full pads every practice the rest of the way. So in order to do that, we have to spread more of the practices out. That's why you saw this weekend. What did they do? Or I guess going back to last week. Off Wednesday, night practice Thursday, off Friday, Saturday, Sunday practice. All in full pads, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, but again, spread them out. Same thing here this week. Off yesterday. I assume they'll be in full pads today against the Patriots. Off tomorrow, preseason game Thursday. Off Friday, Saturday, Sunday practice. Off Monday, off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, full pads with the Falcons. So, again, in modern day NFL training camp physicality, that's about the extent of what you're doing here. If you wanted to, I guess you could have live tackling for the second and first units, but typically, which, part of me is like, I always watch these third unit guys tackle. I'm like, man, I almost feel like a little bit. It's like they're like they're the old punching bags.
I know.
But hey, I'll tell you, man, Anderson Castle. Wait till you see him Thursday, number 42.
I'm circling him. I'm going to ask Rake about him tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Rake will be all over him. He looks like Riggins from Friday Night Lights.
Last one before we hit a break, kind of combining some multiple questions. Who's the rookie that's impressed you the most so far in camp?
Definitely Seth McGowan. Yeah. Deion Burke's a little shaky for my liking. 7th round pick. Remember, former Purdue wideout. Oklahoma.
Yep.
People thought potentially steal the draft. Curious if he can do anything as a returner in the NFL. I don't love the comfortability I feel when he's back there fielding punts. And then wideout-wise, like him and Richardson hooked up for a big play to end practice the other day. That was big for both of them. But yeah, I would say McGowan. I'm trying to think. I have seen a little bit of that George Gums Jr., the linebacker out of Florida, or the DN out of Florida. Caden Curry did have he's been part of those threes. He had a tackle and I think maybe even a sack one of those days. But yeah, not, Halsey caught a pick the other day, but it was off a deflection. Playmaking been a little quiet for Halsey maybe, but he's definitely a starter with Hunter Wooler missing the last
you said
week
McGowan,
or so.
you would have bumped up to the second running back, correct? With
Yeah,
how good
I
he's
thought
been
that
so
was,
far?
yeah, like the Colts depth chart is always going to have a few things that are like not totally accurate. I would say right now, if they were going to go play a game, Seth McGowan would be the backup over DJ Gins. Well, first off, DJ Gins is hurt. And secondly, even when they both were healthy, I'd go McGowan over Giddens.
Okay. Interesting. So that's your reassessment of your 53 questions, 54, 55, whatever you ended up settling on. So
have the country music fans come after you for
No, I've heard not a peep.
Luke Bryan.
I want to see people's TV setups on game day, by the way, because we got one that looks exquisite.
Oh, you're talking about that one Bobby sent?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my. I felt like I was Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street looking at you-know-who.
Margot Robbie?
Or Rudy's dad. These are the most beautiful sight these eyes have ever seen when he walks into Notre Dame Stadium.
I was super jealous. I'm always, I want to see what other people's setups are.
Can I go over
literally
to Bobby's house?
A TV and then one on the floor against the entertainment center. That one's like a legit professional setup. And I'm always like, what is your cable bill like? What's the electricity situation down there? I'm always fascinated.
By the way, have you heard about this big golf cheating scandal? It's gone viral.
No.
I got to share this on the other side. I saw Chris here in the YouTube chat was asking about it. This is kind of crazy.
Okay. I'll have to hear about it.
We'll share this to close things out. Kevin Bowen, Mark Dykton, Nick Rodecap here on The Fan. Andy Moore Group Campus in Avon. One-stop shop, 4 different brands. The 4 brands, Nissan, Toyota, Kia, Volkswagen. Shout out to the Nissan dealer. I'm a rogue driver right here. Alvin, their GM. That is the top Nissan store in the state, and it's one of the top Nissan stores in all of the Midwest. Strong inventory on site, which again, when I'm car shopping, seeing it, driving it, potentially taking it home, I mean, all of that I think is so attractive to you. Trying to wait on a car. Good luck with that process. So make sure you check them out today. 0% APR for 60 months for qualified buyers on Rogues and Pathfinders and Muranos. So again, you can check them out today. It is the Andy Moore Group Campus in Avon. Tell them Kevin Bowen sent you. Nissan, Kia, Volkswagen, Toyota, all that available to you. Rockville Road, always the place to be. Andy Moore Group Campus in Avon.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
You know, Mark, one day next week, maybe we'll do it when we have the fantasy football expert on. I want to hear from people that are in leagues where last place gets punished, to hear about some of these punishments. Did you see the one where the dude had to go play golf without a golf ball and film it?
Well, how does that work?
So picture someone like kind of our age, maybe a little younger, paired up with two dudes that look like they have been retired for 20 years and all they do is golf every day, and this is their life and they're best friends. And they've never heard of social media, nothing. They just live for the, 9 a.m. tee time at their local, muni. And this dude gets paired up with them. So here he is mimicking every golf shot. He's got his laser. He's shooting for distances. He acts like he duffs one, chipping. You have to watch it. I don't think probably the humor is really coming out, but it's excellent. So that made me think of, and again, Chris in the YouTube chat shared this about this viral golf story that's going around St. Louis Country Club. So my obsession with the hole-in-one, right?
Uh-huh. It's a problem. Yeah.
I
super jealous. Happy for people that get it, but also MFing them under your breath every single time.
And I would say stress on the happiness in terms of not as much as I should be, which shows the type of human I am. Heavy on the jealousy, low on the happy scale. Anyways, member tournament, okay? So you belong to a country club and you play with all your members, right? This guy's in the first group of the day. Everybody, I guess, let's say it's 100 people in the tournament. They all throw in X amount of money, let's call it $20 for a hole-in-one pot. So if someone makes a hole-in-one, they take home all that money.
I have seen this one, yeah.
Okay, pretty good money. So this guy's in the first group of the day. Tells the group on the first tee, hey, my grandma's not doing well. At some point today, I might need to take a call from her, somebody in the family, blah, blah, blah. Just FYI. Of course, everybody very empathetic in the group. So I guess they get to the third hole, maybe the fourth hole, and he's like, hey, I need to go take this call. The next hole is a par 3. He goes, I'll go ahead and hit my tee shot on the next hole, kind of speed up play. Well, I guess he hits the tee shot, and all of a sudden the group gets up there, and there's a ball in the hole. And they're like, oh, my gosh, he made a hole-in-one. That's incredible. Blah, blah, blah. Well, word starts to – he rejoins the group, and, obviously he has this excitement, fake excitement, I should say. And, everybody now is a little skeptical. Some of these members are a little bit – because I don't play golf by myself very often anymore. But when I used to, I'd always be nervous. Like, if I make a hole-in-one, is anyone going to believe me?
Yeah. Yeah, that is one that is a risky run.
So
who's going to believe this?
I guess there was a camera on the maintenance shed at this golf course, and they saw, let's call his name Bill. They saw Bill drive his car to the maintenance shed at about 5, 6 a.m. in the morning, walk right out to the fourth green, make an indention with his ball in the green, put the ball in the hole for the hole-in-one.
That is lame and slime ball behavior. That's disgusting.
Is that not the most disgusting behavior?
No, that's really lame.
Honestly, the first thing I thought was that man must be in some serious debt.
Well, you can be in more debt if you get a hole-in-one you have to buy a round.
Well, I think you could probably afford the round if you've got that big hole-in-one pot coming your way.
That is so lame.
So then the greens crew didn't change out the hole or anything like that. No one played around beforehand. I don't know. Maybe they were the first group off. Maybe they had already done the holes for the day. Maybe the maintenance crew had already, cut these new holes. So a few details I probably don't have 1,000% accurate. I'm just relaying some video I saw.
The other one I saw was that it's a par 3 hole and it's 68 yards, and you pay $5 to $100. And if you get a hole-in-one, that's how much of a pot you win. And if you put $100 down and you get a hole-in-one, get $30K. How much confidence would you have to even try that? I thought that was fascinating.
My brother-in-law has made the suggestion you should put a random par 3 on a rest stop. And so you're doing your long trip, you pay whatever, $5 for 10 balls, and if you make a hole-in-one, you get what's in the pot. And if no one makes a hole-in-one for a week, the pot obviously is increased. Can you imagine? Hey, Dykton family, we're not stopping at Buc-ee's anymore. We're going to that rest stop.
We'd never get to Florida if that happened.
Where the par 3 is.
I'd be all about that.
Wouldn't that be a nice way to break up the road trip?
Yeah. Let me stretch my legs a little bit. Let me Get some iron shots off.
You and Greg Rakestraw tomorrow?
That's right.
First day of kindergarten. I got to send Rosie Bowe off.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Rosie.
Very much looking forward. She was thrilled yesterday to see her classroom. Thrilled. I hope I'm that excited about Notre Dame football this year as she is about her kindergarten class.
Well, it's a big day for mom and dad. Big day for Rosie. So congratulations. Take it all in. It goes quick.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. James Boyd will have some updates from joint practice. Colts and Patriots about to commence. Jake's got you 10-1. Fan Morning Show. Nick Rotacap. Thank you, sir.